More downside action to start things off so far this morning on the back of what happened in the afternoon yesterday. We get some follow through to the downside yesterday on the back of the Fed, a very hawkish tone, a very hawkish pause, if you want to call it that, that followed PPI in the morning that came in much hotter than expected. So inflation much back in focus once again. We have oil back to the upside in a pretty big way. Brent up to 115 so far this morning. Coming off a little bit right now, we have WTI hovering around 97, 96, 97, but back towards the top end of the range. So the inflation conversation back in focus this morning. A number of individual movers to touch on as well. We had a very nice move initially, anyways, from MU. Micron was higher to start things off when the numbers came out, right as we went off at 4 o'clock yesterday. But then it was just a sell right out of the gate. We're downside in a pretty big way here. So far this morning, disregard that candle. It is deeper in so far this morning, but all the way back to 432 into this gap from 3 days ago for Micron. Yeah. Everybody worried about supply more than the demand side of things.
Well, that's exactly it. You can't get these fabs built out in time for the demand. People are saying this is going to be a 2-3 year thing because they're not seeing data centers really slow down. Good morning, guys. Interesting. You always look at this, the removals of the Fed statement, what changed from the previous statement. And you see here how they took out unemployment rate has shown some signs of stabilization. So that was a little bit of a concern to me.
Not a good look.
No, that one did concern me a little bit. That was kind of what stood out, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, Chair Powell basically saying he doesn't see any reason to cut rates. Morgan Stanley, I saw moments ago, pushing their rate cut down from June to September. So it doesn't feel like we're going to get anything here, Brendo. But to build on your point, Micron, it really was a sell the news event. Not much in the way of anything bad here, but just supply.
I mean, it's up huge, obviously, with everything else. But coming into the downside. The other interesting point to take away from the Fed yesterday, I think, was the simple fact that he gave no indication whatsoever that he's going anywhere. And a lot of people pointed to this investigation that has already been thrown out of the Department of Justice investigation into Fed Chair Powell has already been thrown out, but he gave no indication that he was going anywhere.
And two things, right? Warsh may not have an easy confirmation through the Senate. We've already seen several Senate Republicans kind of break ranks. That's one. Two, he may not leave altogether, even just as a committee member, until the investigation's over. So he's going to have a presence some way, some form. It's really interesting. This is all unprecedented stuff. Nobody stayed after their term.
No, I don't know why you would want to if you were in his shoes at this point, but we'll see what happens with the Fed. There's a couple of other interesting notes this morning. Tesla with a headline on the FSD side. Tesla pretty ugly at the end of the day yesterday. More downside coming right now. NVIDIA GTC wrapping up today. What a week it's been for NVIDIA. I mean, the stock really hasn't kind of shook it off. We sold off a little bit yesterday with the overall market, but tons of headlines coming out of GTC as it typically does. Whether or not we'll get any kind of reaction doesn't seem like it at this point. I mean, too many other things, obviously, on the higher level going on.
I'll get to oil in a second, but I want to mention, to build on your point here about Tesla and chips, you see that came out and said, we're going to probably build our own A16 chip, and it's going to be in-house built so they can rely less on NVIDIA. Again, more of a push into custom silicon by the hyperscalers who can afford to do it, right, who can design it in-house. And then separately, I wanted to mention, did you see the disconnect between WTI and Brent?
Huge.
I have not seen that kind of variance in a long time. It was like almost $20 difference.
I looked at it initially this morning. It was 108. Brent was 108, and then we got up to almost 115.
Yeah.
And WTI around 96, 97. So just kind of hanging out here. So yeah, I mean, all over the place for energy. The producers, the actual equities, I mean, kind of following suit initially, but really have had absolutely no follow through so far this morning. Very, very low volume. So it's mostly on the futures side of things. Still a very headline driven market. Lots to pay attention to so far. Good morning, guys.
Yeah, good morning. And a name that wasn't on people's radars until how's about now-ish would be Rivian. Rivian partnering with Uber to deploy up to 50,000 fully autonomous robo-taxis. Initial deployments planned for San Francisco and Miami in 3 years or 2 years, because it's now 2026, Neil. So Rivian was doing nothing, and now it is up 10% on volume. So, hey, Micron might have hey, the quarter was great and the stock is down. The metals might be down a ton and the market might be looking a little bit glum today, and even SoFi is back to the downside, but at least Rivian is here to save the day. I don't know, but that story just dropping up 9% now as it's already starting to pull back in here a little bit. But yeah, in Mag 7 land, I don't know. Like Apple's the only thing that's kind of bucking the trend. They had some strong China sales there, and there's not much else. Like it's looking relatively weak. Post-Fed reaction was a lot of sell action across the board. Even the strong stocks that were trending up, like the Intels and SanDisks, didn't fare well in the afternoon yesterday. And obviously with Micron, you can't really beat any bigger than they did. Unbelievable quarter. But it doesn't matter. Price to perfection is a part of the story as well.
I'm short Rivian now. They can't. 50,000 vehicles, they don't even make 50,000 vehicles in a year. So I'm not sure that's good, but whatever. Well, I think it's a good opportunity for them. Uber to invest $1.25 billion in Rivian through 2031. So we'll see if it continues to go upside a little bit here, up 10%. Look at the market, the Nasdaq starting to bleed out, right? We had that great short yesterday before or after Powell, just as he came out at 2 p.m. And we're really starting to bleed lower here today as well. So let's wait to see. But yeah, short Rivian right there. I mean, SLV, I was thinking about putting that on the radar as well here today. It's down 9% is silver right now. Gold getting hit as well, down to 4,600 right now an ounce. So that's not going to be very well received either today. 8% there on gold. Bitcoin took down 70,000. Nasdaq's in trouble. Everything is going lower. So just be very, very careful today. Obviously, you're in the right spot. Here's CLK, 96 bucks. So as we talked about, WTI and Brent right here. This is $96 right now, trying to cruise around. We almost broke 100 again right there on oil, and yeah, not quite up to that level yet, 99.80 or so. But yeah, oil going to the downside, gold going to the downside, silver going to the downside. So I don't know, man. I'm looking short here. We just gotta wait for the market to open up and give us some prices here. But $65 on silver, sort of where this VWAP is, depending when you start your VWAP, of course. So I'm not looking at that too much. But there's the breakdown. I mean, it wasn't too long ago that silver was $100. You're talking about end of January. Now you're down to 63. Like that's a pretty big move here on silver. So we'll look to see if that can break even lower right now. We're going to be out of it takes the highs on Rivian. So if we take out the 1740, that sort of spike, well, let's see if we can average it into 1720. But yeah, interesting story here with Rivian. We'll start the day a little short. Right now, I really love Uber. Uber, one of the stocks in the market. I like Uber. I like Marvell. Right now, if I could pick two names, I like both of these ones. I think Uber's road to success continues with all this autonomous stuff. I mean, it's going to be easier and easier to put autonomous vehicles on the road with NVIDIA, and I think that's one of the big things that's come from GTC is the Uber partnership there as well. And here comes NVIDIA, man, broke that 180. Now we're way down again, down another 1%. Just could not hold anything yesterday. So 183 down to 178. Yeah, it's gonna be a dangerous situation here. So today, I don't think it's gonna be a good one. So we'll see if we continue to fade pops. That's gonna be my plan of action here today. So I don't know. We're already short Rivian. Let's see where this one goes. I guess.
This is through to 2031. This tie-up between Uber and Rivian. So yeah, $1.25 billion, but it's a 5-year deal. So it's not like it's going to be right out of the gate, as the guys were saying. The production side of things is going to be a little bit of a question mark as far as this goes. Still hugging 17 here, but looks like it might be a little bit on the downside as far as the reaction goes. Still a nice pop here, though, for Rivian.
Yeah, this is interesting. As Sean was mentioning, expected to purchase 10,000. And these are the R2s, not the R1s. So 10,000 autonomous R2 robotaxis with the option to purchase 40,000 more. That's that's later in 2030. Initial commercial deployments planned for San Francisco and Miami in 2028, scaling to 25 cities, according to the report, into 2031. These are pretty ambitious plans, Brendo. But I want to mention, this is what we were talking about on Uber during the midday yesterday. about during the midday news segment. We were saying Uber is kind of making itself a marketplace for autonomous vehicles. You want to come up with the technology, you want to spend it in-house and launch it on our platform. We've got the subscribers, we've got the users. You spend, we distribute. I don't mind that strategy all that much. It's CapEx light. And all the while, everybody else is spending up a storm in terms of CapEx. I kind of like that look, a good kind of approach to take that really nobody else is taking.
Until they come and spend $1.25 billion on a deal with Rivian, whether or not
It's not that.
No, it's not. Especially over 5 years. It's not that bad at all. Still hanging out. But I mean, the thing that is kind of interesting with this is, correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't seen any autonomous technology yet from Rivian in their vehicles specifically. So whether this will fill that void or not, I guess we need to find out a little more details.
And this is a data game. Like we've seen with Waymo, we've seen with Tesla, the more data, the better you can kind of customize the driving software. And you kind of feel if you don't have an AV software within your R1S and R1T at the moment, do you have the data or are you going to have to rely on other people's data? So I don't even know if they'd sell that to you. It's kind of proprietary.
Given what is currently happening with oil prices and gas pump prices, I mean, I think it's a pretty good time to be at Rivian coming out with a cheaper version of, or cheaper, more affordable version of an electric vehicle in the coming months here. Although I'm sure when it lands in Canada, it's still going to be north of 70.
I just want to see how they operate here, Brendo, especially in the winters. Like when we get the Waymos and if we get the Tesla Robotaxi, what's the logistical? Yeah, like you see what we had a few weeks ago. We had snowbanks higher than you and I.
Yeah.
Like how are they going to navigate that?
Yeah.
These are the real world problems that this hasn't really shown.
I mean, if nothing else, it definitely needs to be an SUV.
Yeah, exactly.
But whether or not it can actually figure it out, we'll see. Google had, I mean, a negative day yesterday, but it was maybe a little bit better than some of the other major tech names into the close. Not a heck of a lot of volume here. I was reading a note this morning. Some analyst was trying to make the case that of any of the Mag 7s outside of NVIDIA, this one maybe you could make the catalyst coming out of GTC that on the AI side of things could have the best case scenario outside of NVIDIA. I mean, you talked about Tesla and their chip angle this morning. So, I mean, Google's still holding higher.
Yeah, and quite frankly, their TPUs are very much in vogue at the moment. Super cheap to produce, very specific to the task at hand. They're built for inference, not for training. So it's that next gen AI thing that we've been talking about. Google's fantastic. I got this one wrong. I was bearish on them going back to a couple of years because Gemini was very poor. I felt that they were politically motivated, and that's really all changed.
We'll keep an eye on Tesla here. It just actually made a new low on the day on this FSD investigation as well. They're going to expand the investigation into the company's FSD. So this thing was super weak into the close yesterday, kind of chopped around aftermarket. But here we go, guys. More downside. 390 looks like it's come and gone.
Looking weak there. Also more out of Besant. Not going to do financial market oil intervention. So we'll see. And getting some other headlines of more, a strategic action in Iran. So we're still going to be pretty headline driven in that regard. You would think that, at least there'd be some possibility that rising oil prices would be good for the EVs, but that hasn't really been much of a theme here. It's a mild story for Tesla at that NHTSA that's in the watch list. I think the kind of disappointing thing and concerning thing would be Tesla's going to be underneath the 200-period moving average, simple moving average on the daily. I believe a bunch of big names are going to be threatening that. You look at NVIDIA threatening to break it. It's actually at it right now. But a close under this in Tesla, it wouldn't be the all doom and gloom because there's this like 381-ish support. But I feel like we're at least destined to test this at that 380, 381. That was the low from back in November. And we've had a couple of jaunts underneath, not by much, underneath this 200-period moving average. But it's hard to be bullish if we cannot regain this 200 SMA, especially if you get more than one close underneath there for Tesla. So yeah, I can't come in today thinking bullish on Tesla. Ignore that wick. That's just a dark pool wick. We are threatening this flat bottom break, and then your 380 is pretty much all that you have in store. But I almost think that the stock that would be crazier, not crazier, because whatever. The stock to be more important if it loses the 200-period moving average is going to be NVIDIA. And if we don't hold here today, then we're going to have a close underneath that. And NVIDIA hasn't done that since like May of last year. So it's almost a full calendar year since NVIDIA has been under that 200-period SMA. I'd be more concerned with that from a market standpoint than Tesla, but they both look weak today. I don't know if there's much of a distinction.
Yeah, I got Tesla. Tesla's pretty much, the Nasdaq's the #1 trade ID on my board here, but I've got Tesla written down here as a short as well. And then I asked everybody here today, you know, what a wild session it was there yesterday. I think it's going to be a risk-off day today, that's for sure. I'm looking to fade. Oh, there it is. I even said it right there at 750. Looking to fade Pops and Tesla. We'll see if we get those. What names are you guys doing? Texas Boy agrees. He likes the Tesla and Micron setup, so that's a good one there. GD Surfer says Tesla and NVIDIA. Okay. Looking to get long queues, says Dane Generous. What's up, Dane? Okay, that's an interesting take. Palantir and SNDK. We'll have to look at, actually, the Palantir level, maybe something to look at. Brody talking about U.S. oil falling here. Could be interesting there. Or it fails to hold 120, right? We'll see 118. That's what it's doing actually right now. Yo, good morning, Glenn. This guy wants RGT and Open Door, and of course, BW again, an OB name, LYB and MSTR as we look more to the production and then the Bitcoin side of things as well. And then Chai Trader says, what's up? Shout out to Chicago in the house. But yeah, you guys are looking there, and I think that's the right spot to look. I mean, I have Tesla as a short. You know, we'll have to wait to see where it goes. I mean, as Brendan mentioned there, yesterday's close, not very good. If we can come up to the 393 or something like that, that's not a horrible area to start your short. We'll see. We can get bump ups, right? I mean, we've seen Tesla. Tesla was, you know, my most traded stock yesterday before we hit the close, and we were short Tesla just right into there at 2 p.m. and then got stopped out right before the move happened. So, you know, definitely a Tesla trader over here, and we're going to be doing it more and more. We had the long yesterday until it broke, and then we had the short into that move. So we'll see what Tesla wants to do. Very violent off the open. I mean, we have big moves. We talk about that all the time. So maybe Tesla yesterday hits 403 and closes 393. So definitely some opportunities here for Tesla today. So yeah, we're interested in all these names. You know, oil moving around. I think that was a good look by you guys mentioning that there in the chat. So we'll keep on watching out for that. Tesla downside. We've averaged into our Rivian, if I can show you guys that in a second, right now. It comes up into 1720, just makes a move back into 17 as I was talking to you guys. Would have liked to get some out there, so we'll put a bid a little ahead of that and see if we get a bid at 17 and change right there. But so far, so good here on the Rivian trade. We just got filled there at 03s, so we'll see if we can get a downside play here for RIV. And yeah, I'm mad because now Uber is going to take some of those R2s, which is supposed to be destined for my driveway. But 1680, we'll see if it can hold there. 1690, maybe a play as well, as bounced off 1691. So we'll wait to see what happens with Rivian here. I mean, I was going to hold it till 1740 anyways. So just one unit here in the pre-market.
Random question for you. What do you think the odds are in April of a Fed rate cut?
0%.
Right? So if you say, so rate staying the same, you think is 100% right now?
In my opinion, I don't know what the odds are for the market.
Would you be surprised if it was 94%?
No cut.
But it's not 94% for the reason you think. It's because there's a 6% chance of a rate increase now.
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, 0% chance for a rate cut.
6% chance, which is the fact that it's even non-zero at this point. I think is that's the big takeaway from yesterday, is that we're half decently contemplating. I mean, look, it's only 6%, but most people would have told you there was no chance 2 weeks ago or a week ago.
Yeah, I mean, things changed dramatically.
And things have changed dramatically here. Oh yeah, Bitcoin, by the way, underneath 70,000 pretty decently. I think that's going to continue to be a fade, but that's not going to be good for the markets. It's hard to like that. It's hard to like that for the markets when you have that change. I actually just want to double check this, because if you go, let's go out further. When you go out to the end of the year, there's still it's 58% that there's no change at the end of the year, and there's actually still even a slight percent chance that rates are higher at the end, and then decent chance that we get that one cut, which is what was talked about yesterday. Remember, seven members, thought that there should be no cut by the end of the year, which was the majority. So really the only reason why you have odds on of a cut is because when you looked at that like plot, there's a few that are out there saying 5 cuts, 3 cuts, 4 cuts. But really there's more individual voting members saying no cuts at all for this year, which is definitely weighing on us. And you see gold and silver falling like absolute rock.
Oh yeah, down 9% now. Silver. I mean, look, this was my opinion yesterday at 2 o'clock. 3 shorts right into that number after the number was released, after we heard that there was no cuts expected. This was 320 right there, let alone where the market wound up going yesterday. And we put this little, I mean, we tweeted this out, we said bye-bye as the bear waves his hands there and says bye-bye to the market. And then we just continued to go short there yesterday all afternoon. And, that was on this price on the TQs that we had right there was 47.50. Right now the TQQs are 45.29. So yesterday we had this short yesterday right here. There's my thing at the top. So this is where we were short yesterday at the number, and this is what it's been doing ever since. So yeah, man, that's thanks for bringing that up because it's a key point. No more rate cuts, and as soon as we identified that, it gave me the opportunity to hold. We got out right at the end of the day, some of our last shares there. So it was a big win yesterday. Thanks everybody for watching, man. It was a really exciting opportunity to give you guys some of those live trade ideas and watch the market sort of melt out there
Speaking
yesterday.
of gold.
Yeah.
Have you seen the daily on gold? Oh, goodness.
Yeah, I did. It's trying to break lower. It's 4,600. We just got another fill on Rivian.
That 420 is here. Almost. Well, I mean, there's a 4.2 handle on it. It's not at $420 yet, but GLD is at 424. And that loss of the 50 period, that's the thing. Like, you lose these major moving averages. That's like trends that are breaking. You're really starting to come in. And when you look at silver, it's more distinct because it already happened in silver, but it's also at a massive support level.
Time.
But the one thing you can always count on, you can't count on the Fed to cut rates.
Well, you can't count on this tomorrow.
But yeah, it's
because Randy probably won't be here.
won't be here on Friday. We'll have to get our own. But you got to get your potassium in. That's very important. Make sure you get yours there, Sharif. Although I know you'll be more focused on the eggs, brother.
Sorry?
All right,
I didn't hear what you said.
Mitch is going to join us here. I was just going back and forth a little bit on what we're going to discuss with Mitch Hoke from Trade the Pool coming up. In a few minutes here, we'll discuss some small caps possibly with him. There is a decent amount of economic data also coming at 8:30, so it is worth noting. We did get building permits there for January at 8 o'clock as well. 1.386 million versus 1.376 million, so more or less in line with expectations. Initial jobless claims to come at 8:30. Philly Fed Manufacturing Index for March coming up at 8:30. We have a whole bunch of numbers that come with that also. And then at 9:20, New York Fed bill purchase, 1 to 4 months. There's some housing data at 10 a.m. A whole bunch of stuff. Some bond sales coming up later on as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these yields react. I know they've been going up lately with the 10-year, a little bit up as to relative levels. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But some good economic numbers. We'll cover that for you guys on the midday.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of going to what we were just talking about on the employment side of things. If this data continues to show, it's going in the wrong direction and going in the direction that they don't want to see, then, I mean, you were just, making the argument here, what are we even talking about on a rate hike versus a rate cut in this current situation where, yes, energy is going up for a very specific reason. It would seem that's going to affect food, that's going to affect, manufacturing in general across the board. But the employment market has not been showing strength at all.
No, and I don't really understand when you have one area of the economy where you're seeing inflation, at least for now, that's energy. We expect that, obviously, to filter into other parts, as you mentioned, food because of diesel and trucking and other parts like that. But then that makes the affordability issue front and center. So if food prices are going up, energy prices are going up, then affordability definitely becomes a concern. And then you look at wages. Are they adjusting to the inflation? Is job growth there? And you don't see that. So I don't really understand the look here is, we need to ratchet down demand by increasing rates. really? This is not a demand issue. This is clearly a problem with supply. So I don't really get the talk about wanting to increase rates. It doesn't seem to fit the current economic narrative.
Yeah, market's not going to like that or appreciate it either. Coming up, I was reading a note going back to last week that was the same Bank of England pricing in 2 hikes by the end of the year at this point. I mean, very different economy, obviously, over there, but not the first of this type of discussion. It's worth noting, I'm just keeping my eye on the VIX. VIX coming up to day highs right now, guys. We're back to about 2650 for the VIX.
Yeah, the VIX, it's not at concerning levels. I'm just going to throw it back up there because we're showing like that break of 70K on our good friend Bitcoin. Yikes, yikes, and yikes. Like, we're not at super concerning levels just yet, but the most recent high was at 28. So I feel like if we get to that 28 spot, like that might be, like if you're looking for like bounce spots in the market, like that kind of a thing, like that could coincide with it because you do have a bit of a head and shoulders kind of look there on the VIX if you get to that 28 spot. We haven't had any real holds over 30, and I think that's when you start to get the bigger extension. Like, yeah, let's pull up a 3-month. I think does the job pretty nicely, or maybe even too well. So let's go back to a monthly over there in the VIX. I think when you get to see like the extended moves where it's like real panic is when you get out and about above 30, and then you always fade it if it gets above 50 kind of deal. So we're not really in that territory just yet. The scary thing about all of this is, you know what, like we're at a point with this conflict. It's like if we don't get good news or resolution within the next few like days or maybe less than a week or two, you start to get like bigger concerns. Like we're not too far away from that. And you know, without every single day that passes without progress, it just gets riskier. It's just building on itself here. So I think the Fed, I get it. The market may not like the idea that there's no cuts and there's a small chance of a rate hike, but there's some bigger concerns out there as well, especially when it comes to energy supplies. Like you see the shock in nat gas. Like that could easily get a heck of a lot worse than it is right now. But it's not that crazy priced in the VIX yet. I stress the yet.
Like those of you last week, we had some sort of a poll out. Those of you that were in cash, man, you're smarter than the rest of us. That is for sure. There goes the Nasdaq right now, trying to break, and you're getting ready to, you know, take out some key levels. So, like as I said last week, we had it on the chat. I think it was like 20 or 30% of you were north of 50% in cash, which was a huge. Yes, Rivian. Money. Oh man, we just get those 90 prints down there on Rivian. So now we're 17 cents in on that trade. But we're doing it again. We're doing it live. Yeah, just getting ready to break through, man. There's the 200 period on the Nasdaq. It is a downside play right there for the Qs, right? And so we'll see where it goes from here. But I'm coming into the day thinking short. That is for sure on the Nasdaq. So we're gonna be fading any kind of pops. We already did some sort of trade here already on Rivian. So there it goes. We got 93s there, I think. We weren't waiting at 91s, but here we come right back in. We're gonna bid some 83s now, and then we'll wait to see where we go from here. So the short Rivian so far paying off. And you guys go, if you have Twitter, go follow. We put out this trade right when we took it. So I still like this little bear guy over here. If you're available to, go over, take a look. Here's the sticky notes out right now. There's the Rivian trade that we put on there, and we go lower there as well. So a little bit of beer and pizza there. But yeah, it was a good one. Here we go, a Rivian even going lower right now. So here we go, man. We're bidding 83s. Let's see if we get that fill. There it is, man. It's already starting, Neil. It's gonna be, hopefully, a good day today. We just do have to avoid the tilapia. So, so far so good there, Rivian.
Don't say that.
See you later, man. 33 cents in the money. I hope some of you joined on all of this. So, but yeah, that's it, man. 69.5 right here as we go. But Rivian, so far so good. Thanks for watching. And yeah, we're gonna have Mitch up soon, so that should be fun. We'll talk to
We
him.
have 1 minute until we have. There's actually some economic data today. Not much. We have 1 minute to initial jobless claims. We're expecting 215,000. So I think we always know it's all about the revisions when it comes to that, but we do have that number coming in about 30 seconds. I know Brendan will have it for us. We'll try to throw it up on the screen if we can, and I think we'll have Mitch probably after we get that economic data. It's hard to imagine that's going to move the market more than the sentiment that's already built in, would be my guess. But it's out there, and then new home sales at 10 as well. Brendo?
Yeah, probably going in the same direction anyways. Silver, guys, worth noting, just tagged 9% downside on the day. Absolutely puking right now. Some of the metals or metal-related stocks also coming off in a hurry as well. Yeah, we'll get these numbers coming up here in a couple seconds anyways. Initial jobless claims probably going to be the biggest one to watch here, along with continuing claims. 1.85 million was the number last time. That was slightly downside week over week, so we'll see if we get that continuation. The forecast 1.855 comes out 1.857, so a slight uptick there on continuing claims. 205 on the initial jobless claims number. 215 was expected, so a little bit better. Philly Fed Manufacturing Index for March, 18.1. That was versus a staggering 11 print, so much higher than expected. Business conditions 40, last time around was 42.8, 25.8 for Fed Cap Index, Philly Fed Cap Index for March. That was versus a print last time of 14.4. So a lot of green numbers here, guys, but market's still continuing downside.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have doubts always about those jobless claim numbers, right? And I think, like you said, it's always about the revisions. I can't really expect anything to really change this sentiment. My guess is if you want the markets to look a little bit better, it's either like dead cat bounce-ish or give us some kind of a positive headline coming out of the Middle East. Like, that's the thing that I would be more interested in for sure. So yeah, I think it'll be pretty much all quiet outside of those types of headlines, which is what we should be looking for. I look over even like the only strong, I shouldn't say the only strong name, but like Apple was one of the few that was in the green, and it's only barely hanging on to some support. We'll see if that can hold on to 250. Was the only thing I actually had written down is, hey, there's a support level that I think we have a chance of bouncing off of if there's a long here today. And even that is just going red. Just hit 0-0 here. So yeah, not really liking it. I see we're gonna have Mitch on in a couple of seconds, but that number's not changing the litmus anywhere.
Just as we'll just talk about a trade that we got on right now, we just got some more Rivian out at 76 there, as that's where VWAP was. So another out there on Rivian right there right now. Yeah, look, I mean, I have silver written down. Silver written down, so SLV. I mean, there's different ETFs and different methods of trading silver today, but like we keep saying, traders got to trade, and this one is a downside mover today. So definitely want to look, and I know Mitch would agree with this, man. We got to look to see where there's actually something happening. And right now in silver, down that 10% and broke very, very key levels right here of $65 to the downside. You got a turning over 50-period moving average, like the momentum here. And that's all that I wrote down on the sticky note right here was momentum basically play in for silver, right? 65 short, that already broke, down 8% here, so now it's down 10% almost. Watch the levels and the momentum, right? So, momentum plays are what's key, and that's how we got that huge short yesterday on the futures right at 2 p.m. Saw the momentum happening, and it just continued pretty much all the way into the close. So could see something similar like that with silver, and then here goes gold as well. That's down another 4% or something today. That's still my silver chart, but there's gold. There it is, 4.7% downside. All right, we missed him last week. He's back this week. It's Mitch. Let's go back over to the desk.
Not much in the way of positivity to find anywhere at this point as far as ideas go, but let's see if we can't maybe get some on the short side. Mitch Hope joining us from Trade the Pool, as always, to discuss with his Venezuela. That's brave, my friend. That's brave to start things off. Good for you.
Ooh.
Bandwagon jumper, Sean just said so.
bandwagon.
it was
I was actually born in Venezuela.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I like that.
Where do you think I get these baseball
Mitch,
skills to talk about?
the Italians and the Venezuelans are running baseball these days.
Clearly.
But congratulations, man. That's awesome. I loved watching the WBC, like just sort of the energy and the passion that's there, especially for these South American teams. That was just an awesome experience. Were you at any of the games by any chance?
Oh, no, it is a little down south, but unfortunately, those games are too loud to take my toddlers to. So,
yeah.
That's the experience.
You need those muffs,
you
man,
went
those
to
ear
that?
muffs.
Yeah, I've been to one. This is from the 09 kind of experience. I actually got to hold the flag, the Venezuelan flag, while they performed the national anthem at a game, and trust me, lifetime experience for sure.
Wow, amazing. Well, congratulations. That's awesome. Great jersey.
This has been.
I wanted to bring some positive before we talk about the negative, right?
Yeah.
Help us out here.
All right, guys, let's talk about maybe a positive trade before I get into all the negative trades, right? Let's talk about a long potential. Well, it's a long on the war here, but what about taking a look at agricultural inputs? I know it's not the sexiest trade, but CF, MOS, trades like that, I would definitely be taking a look into. Of course, this is the fertilizer trade. And what are you looking at? Well, we just have the recent Iran missile attack on Qatar, right? And that, of course, is affecting the LNG facilities. And, of course, we know how much comes from Qatar for LNG. So this is going to, of course, spike those more natural gas fears. And you're going to see these nitrogen and fertilizer plays start to get bigger spikes. Of course, we're in the spring season, and farmers are getting these seeds in the ground, and they're concerned, right? Because fertilizer prices, yes, oil prices might go down in 3 months or maybe 4 months, but for them, that price is not going to hit till later down, right? That's next season. So this season, they're concerned. You might see stocks like that continue to go, and then you could see like a seed play like Corteva continue to go to the upside. That's agricultural inputs, something you might not hear. I got tons of plays, so we can keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to start just broad first off. I mean, coming off what happened yesterday, I mean, the sentiment definitely seemed to change going into the close yesterday. I mean, Micron comes out with, monster earnings, gets absolutely slammed as the supply conversation comes into effect. It's hard to sit here, with what's happening with the futures right now and say, okay, let's, find some things to buy at this point. I mean, we are starting to bounce a little bit for the SPY right now, but it feels markedly different today.
Yeah, what's driving the tape here is I think the value in the defensive rotation is over, right? For a little while there, the SPY was kind of holding up, and we were having a little bit more chop because there was the industrial trade that was holding on, right? There was the value trade, the XLP that was holding on. There was even the retail trade that was holding on. Now you're seeing all that break with, of course, the danger areas. The danger areas right now have been the financials breaking, and that's all in, of course, asset management and credit services. You're also seeing that affect the regional banks because of concerns with these loans coming into play. And now, of course, the Fed telling you, hey, we're only going to cut maybe once in 2026, and the percentages going lower and lower to see cuts. So this is what's really has changed. And now you're starting to see more of that consumer credit worry out there. You're seeing Carvana down yesterday 7.4%, right? Names like Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, American Express, all down and getting hit hard. So what these stocks are telling you is that the consumer is also under stress, and that's leaking into the staples. So that's also affecting those names, and it's also affecting leisure areas. So you're going to start to see those cyclical names start to take a hit, right? I was talking about shorting names like Royal Caribbean, right? You could take a look at names in like Hilton, right? You can just take a look around and think about what could potentially slow down here also with oil. That's why the industrial trade has also turned around. So if you're wondering why the XLI trade has now just looked ugly, well, it's the oil affecting that trade, right? We all know how that affects the services. And this is really causing a quick slowdown in economic growth. The exact opposite thing I think Trump intended here, but I think he's quickly realizing something needs to happen, something needs to change, because he's going to start to look at the market and everything's starting to go down. And we all know he's more worried about the TLT and the bonds game, and we're heading down quickly. Once we start breaking through the lows, once we start heading down, I would say through the 84s and 80, I think we need to have like this panic moment. Then we could start to slow down a little bit. Right now, you're seeing energy rise. You're going to probably get more of that panic moment in energy. And now the more talks and conversation of potential attacking energy plays, well, energy seems to be the only continued trend higher. And now there's a bunch of trends that are breakdown trends, and shorts are available.
You mentioned a number of different areas there. One of those software names that had already been absolutely cracked the entire year, essentially. A name like Adobe here you had on your list, chopping around in a range for the past 3-4 days after a significant move down. We're sitting essentially right on this ledge around 245, one that could also potentially let that go today.
Yeah, they all look horrible here. I mean, there's certain ones that are maybe hanging on. I have one in a swing trade like a path, but that's agent AI conversation, and maybe that could get a lift here. But Adobe doesn't look good. And there's other names like CRM, Intuit, and even ServiceNow. They just all look like they're starting to have the curve right back down. The IGV did get a little bit of a structure back up, but now you're starting to see that quick turn, right? So I think we got to continue to watch these names. This is where the trouble's going to happen. I think in software, things have completely flipped. What do you need to be hearing more and more about is remodel structure, right? The business models are what's broken here. And so that's what we need to be keeping our eyes open to and hearing how the businesses are developing. Certain ones will be getting hit even further. And eventually these will start to turn around. But names like Adobe, you're hearing the fundamentalist out there. But it's at its cheapest ever, right? It has all this money. It's at its cheapest ever. Right now, that's not what's driving the boat. What's driving the boat is AI sentiment, and AI sentiment has changed here. This is why I always talk about that there's multiple variables. And right now, fundamentals isn't going to save you, right? You're just getting hit by the AI conversation, and you started to see a leak yesterday that is a very concerning leak, which was the AI infrastructure leak. And if AI infrastructure starts to leak, that is a really telling sign. That could mean that we could start to see even pullback from CapEx conversation. If we start to see that conversation play in, it's further down. And what I'd be looking at in the long term is like an anchored VWAP from the April lows, but that's scary conversation. We don't have to get into that right now.
Let's pace ourselves here a little bit. All right, we've been kind of all over the place here. Let's narrow down the focus. Give me your top 2 or 3 heading towards the open here this morning.
Okay, if you're looking for plays today, right out the open, what I'd be watching, of course, is to look to see what happens with these utility players like TLN, CEG, NRG, and VST. These are the independent power producers. This is a term you're not going to hear go away this year, which is bring your own power. Right? So if this AI trade is going to hang on, this trade could hang on. Look to see these names were up yesterday. You got CEG up like 3.24%. TLN was up 5.11%. Of course, TLN has deals with kind of Amazon. And what you're looking in this space is more partnership development. What I like these stocks is that if you look at those charts, you'll see on the dailies, these had been down since back in October. Right, so they've had a long downward trend that could be turning back to the upside, while a lot of stocks that were hot just a month ago are now turning to the downside. One
of the things coming out of the GTC conference this week was the demand or potential demand still, exponentially higher for power and compute, obviously. So some of those names definitely good. If, for whatever reason, we start to get a little bit of a recovery here for the overall market. Anything jumping off the page on the long side?
If you're looking for longs right now, I have one right now that I'm looking at, which is Path, Unipath. And agent AI conversation is the major talk from NVIDIA's GTC conference that you can actually take moving forward. What did he bring up? Nonstop OpenClaw, right? Nemo Claw, agent AI conversation. This is where I think you should be looking at if you're looking into software to dip into, because these are the names that could potentially change tunes. I think there will be some software names that jump here and surprise some people. Why is that one up, but like Adobe in the dirt? Well, Adobe is getting affected by AI disruption. It's Path doing, it's the actual one that's doing the disruption, right? So think about that when you're looking into software, and you just might find a diamond in the rough.
Going to be a very interesting day, maybe even a couple of days here, who knows. What's the latest for us over at Trade the Pool?
Well, we have the market madness competition going on right now. And so it's pretty much a bracket, right? So we had like to pick our top 5. I had Microsoft, VST, I have Path on there. And this is the reason why I'm bringing up Path, right? And so we'll see what happens in that. I'm doing well in my bracket, going to win my... I already can see I'm going to win that. So we'll continue going in the bracket. If you guys want to take a look into the market madness, of course, check out Trade the Pool. If you're looking for a way to continue trading, or maybe even doing some bot trading. Of course, you can bot trade with our accounts. So that's one thing that we talk about on stream all the time with all this Claude conversation. I know that you guys are out there building strategies. You want to come trade and find out if it works? Why not try this on an eval where you have a limited risk and you can actually see if it works in the market? If it works there and you're able to get funded, that should be already your proven strategy to go ahead and continue to develop your trading. See you on there.
Great stuff. Mitcho, great insight as always. Thanks for this.
Venezuela! All right, good stuff by Mitch. I hope you do win that bracket there, good sir. All right, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with not necessarily downgrades, but more or less just a lowering of some price targets. We're going to start with General Mills here, guys. Stifel Nicholas going from $50 to $44 flat here this morning. Then we have IBM, pretty substantial price reduction here, going from $350 to $290. But BMO Capital, you're down 1% here this morning. And then we have NCLH, Norwegian Cruise Lines, down about 0.9% here, and getting that price target lowered from $30 to $28. And then Williams Sonoma going from $235 to $225, guys, by Robert W. Baird. Now, moving forward with some of the earnings reports from last night, we're going to kick things off with Micron, holding that buy rating by Rosenblatt with a price target increase from $500 to $600. That seems to be the narrative here, but still down 6.17%. So that's very interesting. Red Cat also getting the nod, guys, holding that buy rating, but you're down 4 and almost 3/4 here. Price target being increased from $16 to $20 by Needham. And then we have 5 below also getting the nod up substantially this morning, 6% here, guys. JP Morgan giving them the nod, 259 to 296. And then we have NU Holdings also getting that upgrade from neutral to a buy rating. Nothing substantial in the price target, 1720 to 1760.
Good look there, Joe. And, we can certainly look 5 below is when we pulled up in the afternoon, and just a much better chart than you might expect. But I want to acknowledge in the chat, like, a lot of people have been throwing MobX in here, and we're not trying to miss out on. I know this is a small capper that a lot of people are probably going to be looking at. It's on 50 million or so shares. It is a penny stock, so it needs to be in that hundreds of millions, which it looks like it will do. The story here: they entered a smart munitions market through an anti-drone feasibility program. That's the headline for MBOX. I'm going to see quickly, because when you're trading a small capper, you want to know things like its float, 93 million float. So it's not a gigantic float relative to me. It's a penny stock, right? Like 93 million. It's already done half that, and we're only at 8:45 in the morning, or just a little bit past that. So MobX looking pretty strong. And for everyone out there also in the chat that's like, why is gold down as much as it is? This has been the sentiment since last night. You can call it part Fed, you can call it part energy shock, dollar strength. These are all factoring into the pullback in the metals, and there's a massive technical break also that's going on in gold. Lost that 50 period yesterday. So, yeah, the metals, yuck, and more yuck. Gold and silver. I mean, gold's down 6.5%. Silver's down 12 here, almost double to the downside.
Yeah, we mentioned silver when it was down 8, and it just keeps on going lower and lower and lower. I want to say thank you to everybody that has responded to what we're doing today. We're actually ringing the register on some Rivian right now again, man. That stock getting a little lower right now. Yeah, people like Palantir fade, the Tesla, the NVIDIA. This has caught my eye right here, so I want to say thank you to Media Ground right here. I thought this is pretty funny. I said, what are you doing? He says, waiting for the live stream to start. Trading in the 80s, trading today. So I thought that was pretty cool. You guys are so creative, and thank you that. I retweeted that as well. So thank you so much for posting that up, Media Ground. I think that was awesome. So a lot of love from everybody here on the stream. So we want to thank everybody for that. Yeah, there goes silver, man. I mean, too bad. It's just one of those things that we had said, keep playing the momentum, and I should have just taken it in the pre-market. You know, silver doesn't really have an open market, so we should have taken that there and not worried about waiting for 9:30. I'm just so conditioned to do that. We did have a move up here, though, on Rivian, and so we take advantage of this spike up right there. Pretty easy fade for me right there for Rivian. I mean, we've been waiting for it to make moves up into this area anyways, so it does it there, and we're out of half. So let's see how good this one works out right now. Now 40 cents in the money. It's more than a 2-to-1 risk to reward right there. I didn't use Sharif's calculator for it, but it's about 2-to-1 right now if we're going to get out at 40s. So that was the high end there. We'll hold this until the open and then see where we go from here. But thanks for that, Mitch. Back over the desk. I meant to ask him about SoFi maybe next week.
Yeah, SoFi, it's one of the ones that was moving around early this morning, back downside here. Approaching day lows. This thing had a nice start to the day yesterday, but it's just been straight southbound since then. Not much to look at after that huge flush going back 2 days ago. 1650, I mean, we're 30 cents from that at this point.
Yeah, and Wells Fargo chiming in today after the Muddy Waters, let's call it short report or allegations or whatever they made the other day, initiating coverage. In fact, Wells Fargo a little late to the party here with an equal weight rating and a $19 price target. So a little bit of a nice upside, about $2 and change from where that level was. But yeah, SoFi coming out yesterday pretty aggressively. In fact, day before yesterday, and said, look, we're pushing back against these allegations, threatening a lawsuit, Brendo. Haven't heard really much in the way of any more details either for Muddy Waters or the company. So we'll be tuned.
Yeah, whether or not that can hold at those levels, we'll see. Another one getting absolutely cracked here this morning. Definitely not the market, or definitely not the macro situation to be a solar stock, I would say right now. CSIQ getting absolutely destroyed right now. 1820 basically was where we started this morning in the pre-market. We're down to 14 bucks.
I used to be involved in this during the pandemic.
Man.
It was an Alfred play, right? And he got me. I was in this thing at like 42 bucks. Look where it's been lately. Not a good look, guys. Issued Q1 revenue guidance of around 900 million to 1.1 billion. That is well below what the street wanted. The street was looking for about more than $1.5 billion in revenue. That implies about a 13 to 15% quarter over quarter. That's sequential, not year over year drop. They swung a net loss as well, losing about $86 million a share. Compare that to last year when they took home about $34 million in profits. They missed expectations, for a smaller loss. Margin compression being blamed here. But we had seen a bit of a resurgence lately anyway in the solar stocks when, Elon Musk started talking about putting data centers into space. You got to power those somehow, Brendo, and solar panels are obviously the only way, really, other than nuclear power, which probably wouldn't be feasible given launch constraints and stuff like that. But not really following through.
No, not at this point anyways. I mean, this stock, guys, on a daily chart, we've completely round tripped. Even if you just discount this consolidation, go back to this high, we've basically completely round tripped this entire move up to 35 bucks now, down here at $14 this morning for CSIQ.
Yeah, that's the only thing good about that stock is, I suppose, like how relatively clean the chart looks. That's probably the best I could give you. It's a very clean channel to the downside, so maybe there's some kind of a chance you could get a bounce off the bottom and support. I didn't really draw the bottom line very well. Let's get that out of the way. That's not, I wanted to draw it from here, so you do that. Just something along these lines for the channel down, and then maybe you find some support. But then you're guessing. I think you always try to slap the 3-day rule on these, but broken chart's a broken chart. It's like you don't get the benefit of the doubt in this particular. You don't get the benefit of the doubt in this space. You don't get the benefit of the doubt with this kind of a trend down. You don't get the benefit of the doubt when you have poor earnings. So I would not be running to catch a falling knife here. There's other solar names that are going to be that are going to be better plays that aren't as bad. It would be the best way to put it, other than CNQ here. So not looking good at all. We do have a super chat. I can't throw it up because it's actually not working today. But we do have JKL, Toddle, Premium Hunter. I know I'm crazy, asked the wife, adding to gold at these levels. Well, I think one of the things yesterday we were talking about, it's like, it's working now.
I just pushed send.
Oh, mine isn't.
Yeah.
And mine's dead. Okay, well, it's good to see it's working for you. Maybe we can refresh it. But look, one of the things we were talking about yesterday was I think you almost need like a perfect storm here for GLD, because so much of this is, it's about what's going on in Iran and then the US dollar. Throwing that in, and then you get the technical break, the fact that things were parabolic. It's not the flight to safety. But if you still, if in the back of your mind you're like, okay, but you still have all the government printing money and you still have also those fiscal deficit concerns, that's all still going to be there when all of this unwinds or it improves in the Middle East at some point, you would like to hope. So there's that backdrop, but there's also, overall what tech has been doing. And again, if we're getting top-ish in the Nasdaq, you could have, again, that for the flight to safety. It's just from this point, I just looked at it as something as start looking at where it could bounce. Because the pressure on it structurally here is pretty nasty with what's going on in the Middle East. But I do think it's going to be dipped by into that 200 moving average here. And we're looking at GLD, I understand. And appreciate everyone in the chat that's like, SLV is not silver, GLD. We'll look at the ETFs because that's the way that we express the trades. It's going to be this similar moves on the charts here. But I do like that notion. I just don't think for me it's time yet. I want to see some kind of a change in the Middle East first, maybe a chill out moment or two, because I think there'll be plenty of time on this dip. It will up so parabolically, both the metals, that I do think you give it a little chance to unwind.
Yeah, just about that TAN ETF over here. I mean, if you're looking at something, I mean, Mitch mentioned the XLI is losing its way a little bit there. The industrial is perfect. I mean, I want to buy some dips. I think this market's in for quite a correction right now. So I'm not excited to jump in and buy anything, but here goes this TAN ETF right there as we indicate a little bit on solar. What a great year it had, of course. But as we said, the year of the magical investing was over a long time ago, and that's a Jim Cramer thing, not mine. This is trying to, and I agree with it, this is trying to break lower right now on TAN, but this is actually looking pretty good as an ETF overall. Get some First Solar, get some Sunrun, all the different names involved right in here, Enphase and whatnot. It's really since that May break when Trump told us to buy all the stocks in the world. That was such a huge run, man. $30 all the way to 60. That's a double right there. So this TAN ETF just seems like it's just slowing down a bit. We've been down here before. What about a long if it gets into $50 right here where we've sort of supported it in the past? I don't really want to do anything though until we get to the 200 period moving average. So ENPH, generally known as sort of the best Enphase and First Solar, both stocks that you may want to pick up as well. And, holding out, not too bad. I mean, there's not too many stocks right now that are even above the 50 period moving average. And you get Enphase right there as well. So take a look. I don't really love the solar plays. I don't know enough about them to make an educated guess on any of them. So I'll hold off and just look at that TAN ETF. And I don't hold any of these names in my portfolio. So I'm not super excited about solar. I am super excited about Tesla and the abilities for them to continue to do well in this higher oil environment, although we have a negative story about Tesla, and I'm trying to short it today. This is 180 down to 163. So I much prefer the industrials as we try to rebuild this whole world at some point with XLI. So if this can come back in anywhere near, we said we want to buy dips into 200 period moving averages. So this is a good one, man. This is on my radar. Thanks, Mitch, for bringing that one up again. Many names on radar, as well as XBI, the biotech. We've seen some big hits in this name recently as well. So, this name, I don't know if this is at the 200 period or what right now. Much more of a choppier situation here. But this is looking interesting. Yeah, not even close. So this is still holding up decently as well. But look, all this, just like Eli Lilly, we warned you about Eli Lilly the other day at 965 when it was north of 965, saying watch out for that little shelf break. And Eli Lilly's broken below as well. I think this is a good buy if we can get, I don't know where the 200, okay, well, you're almost there right now. I was going to say, I think this is a good buy at the 200 period. All I really want to do is just buy the best names. So that's why I continue to buy Marvell. I like Uber. I'm talking about Google. I said NVIDIA is the next big one. I don't want to mess around with too many names right now that aren't profitable, like a Big Bear AI or anything like that. Like, I'm not even mentioning those. We're letting those things boil over. And, we need to get the good feels back in this market before a name like a Big Bear or any of these lower level names continue to go, because people aren't going to wait around on these, right? I mean, there's been some better opportunities in the market these days than some of these low float, less opportunistic names like an Open Door or anything like that. A lot of these names trying to drift a little lower right now. An interesting name is always GameStop if you're going to look at these kind of levels, because we always get that bump whenever you hear some sort of a news story about GameStop. It always seems to create some activity. And yeah, $20 has been a good level for GameStop as well. So just a couple names there with decent short floats that I don't think Open Door, Big Bear AI, and GameStop, all names that will go eventually, but nothing that we're trying to do right now. Now 43 cents. We'll see if we can drop below here. We'll see if we get something in the 60s. I'm bidding 61s. See if we break a little lower there. As we wait for the imbalances to come out, it's 8:59 right now, so we're getting closer and closer to exactly that. Yeah, Data Vault yesterday. Year over year, yeah, it was a penny stock, of course.
It's still a penny stock. There's a few people asking why is it down with this record revenue, and they beat with surprise profitability. I actually think their EPS was 0, or maybe it was like a fraction of something. Expected was a loss. But keep in mind a couple of things here. One, it was already up like 30-something, close to 40% over the last couple of days going into earnings. Two, tokenization technology and Bitcoin falling to the downside, and they made an acquisition as well. That was in the press release this morning. All those kind of things could be any reason why it would be dropping off a little bit here. You had such a run up and a squeeze going into the earnings. It's almost like it's kind of a sell the news event here, but it's doing decent volume. That the other penny stock we brought to you has done 5 times, actually more than 5 times the volume of Data Vault, but it was on a good run yesterday. But thanks for the super chat there, Adam. And that's sort of the issue when you have that big of a move going into an event like earnings. Yeah, not price to perfection, but sell the news is certainly a thing. Let's go back. We get the rundown, talk about some futures, and get into our watch list, our free watch list.
Sorry, guys. Announcement in the background there about a fire alarm. We'll get to that in a second. Let's look at the SPY, guys. We're down 0.2% already on the SPY. We're at the lows right now, 657. Last day we closed out at 661 and a half or thereabouts. We're going to use that as our first level of resistance. If we catch a bid for whatever reason off the 657 level, we're looking at yesterday's closing print as that first area of resistance. If we continue to sell off, we haven't been down here in a long time, Brenda. We are breaking trend through the lower lows. We're still on that lower low pattern at the moment, sadly. Into 655, we'll say a support. I don't even hear him. Do you?
I don't even hear you at this point. If you missed that, disregard the fire alarm when it goes off today.
I tell you 20 times.
It's only a test. Can you imagine waking up to that? Like, honestly.
It is a great voice.
That's the watch list. If you haven't done so yet, grab it. Link is below. All you need is an email address. You know the drill. It's super easy. Let's talk some Micron here to kick things off this morning. MU, if you zoom out, actually still looks pretty good. We're given pretty much all of this secondary move back here, but constructive maybe for the overall daily chart.
More. Yes, great. All right, guys. MU, unreal report. I haven't seen anything this aggressive before. So EPS came in at $12.20. The street wanted $9.31. Revenue came in at $23.86 billion. The street was looking for barely $20 billion. Revenue tripled year over year. They guided even more ridiculous numbers, quite frankly, $33.5 billion for the next quarter. The street was looking for 24 1/3 with their EPS guide, of course, $19.15. The street was looking for $12.05. It really is reinforcing the strength into the future quarters. This is one hell of a report. If you're wondering why such blowout numbers, well, we know the industry is facing very tight DRAM and NAND supply, and there's a shift now towards that high bandwidth memory products that quite frankly, have higher margins and that they're sold out of. Memory companies are moving into long-term contracts to try to lock some of these prices in because the volatility in the prices is so high. Apple, one of those, they use something called LTAs, long-term agreements. So we shouldn't really see too much in the way of price hikes from Apple in the coming months and a year or so, Brendo. Gross margins. This is also another ridiculous number. They were grossing about 36.8%. On a physical product, which is not bad. Now they've got NVIDIA numbers. We're talking 74.5% gross margins with net income jumping lightly, Brendo. They brought in $1.5 billion last year. They're bringing in $13.5 billion in this year. So very, very strong numbers.
Not so much this morning, though. We're starting to roll back over here a little bit for MU, guys. Thoughts? Yeah, well, when you had that, the margin numbers are nuts. All the way like doubling over last year, from over the quarter, 58 to the mid 70s. Like it's at that point where you could make the argument that the market's going to see that as like, yeah, their margins are topping out there. Like where do you even go from that kind of a number? So incredibly impressive, but didn't matter. Sentiment's going to be the name of the game here, and this has been an earnings season where it's just like I don't care how much you're beating. We don't care how great the numbers are. It's more along the lines of let's take the profit off at the table. Some of it's going to be market sentiment. Some of it's going to be the old price to perfection. You just made another fresh all-time high. That's going to be a part of it. You know, all of that said, like this is the only of all the biggest tech companies. If you look at like the top 10 tech companies in the U.S., this is the only one that's actually up on the year, Micron. So I feel like it'll probably get defended maybe a little bit sooner than others. So you give it the old 3-day rule, see if it can bounce that 50-period SMA. As far as the chips today, I mean, I'll go back to the well that worked in the afternoon yesterday, because I think on Fed days you get some levels that get put in, and then you can sort of see where the resistance was on like a relatively strong stock. And if it can't hold on, if it holds underneath that, I know where its relative strength would be a breakout. That would be like Intel 45.5. And unfortunately, like you're now down like $1.50 from there because the market stunk today, so far today. But to pull back into prior close would be a bit of a trade. I think this is whenever we see down like 1% in the morning, or we've been trending down a lot. I think you want to be a little bit patient because we can often get these early bounces, and if you're immediately in off of the lows, that could be too soon. And then you look back at like 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock or some point later in the day, and you're like, oh, the short was good in the morning. You just had to be a little bit patient with it. It feels like one of those mornings.
Yeah, I just want to update again right here. 60 cents, we just took it right there as Rivian falls down right there. So nice little take there for Rivian as we continue to get a little lower right there right now. This could be the best trade of the day. We'll see. Hopefully you can put on other ones, but there's Rivian. Play the bump up, play the move down. We won't talk about it, but they did get a deal there with Uber, and I just felt like it was a nice story, but nothing big enough for a 10% move as they committed 50,000 R2s apparently by 2030. So I would have thought they would have maybe committed more. Okay, so Micron right there. Anyways, there's the trade. It is what it is. Yeah, look, I think if you're going to go long anything, you're probably going to look at Micron. We've seen this name dip down before, so this is not a surprise. You know, you've come back in, and maybe we get into the $400 mark. I don't think we'll do that right away. We'd have to get down another 8% to get there. And I don't think the number was bad enough, that's for sure, to be down 6.6% and lower. We've seen all these names get hit right off of their earnings calls. So, yeah, no surprise here that that's happening for Micron. This little level looks to hold, I would think, 430. That bottom is 428 right there. So the market's going to open up. We want to wait to see where those imbalances are. I think if the imbalances are going to be sell side, then I would just let it settle down, and then maybe at 931, even hop in there and buy it. Right now, you don't have any Nasdaq names on here. Those come at 925. So we're going to have to wait to see what happens here with Micron, but I think it's a long. It's just better quarter, good expectation, good forward guide, in the right space. And if people are looking to put money to work, which I am not today, I've already said risk off. We're already short Rivian, you know, like I'm already short this game. So, and I want to be shorter, right? We looked at silver. We're going to talk about, well, silver Maybe silver and gold should be on there. Palantir mortgages. Hold on a second. All right, where's Palantir? I got to short Palantir now, boy. All right, so 430 coming into play there for Micron. But anyways, I'm not a long look today, but if I was, Micron would be a good spot for me. And I think you just want to wait to see if you do test somewhere around those lows again that we made at 730, this 428. So that's something that I would look at. There would be Micron, but yeah, for a long. It's just I'm not thinking long today, but yeah, we're gonna let just for those of you asking, I'm gonna try to let Rivian make a little lower move, but I don't mind getting some more out here at 60. We still have 45% of this trade on board, which we tweeted out as soon as we took it. So I hope some of you guys were able to take that high take right there at 1720 on Rivian. And just a quick check on Uber, because they kind of go together here, just as we thought. Yeah, nothing burger there for Uber, and should be a nothing for Rivian, but we'll see how low this name can go. We're still stopping out at 1740.
Before we move off from Rivian, I don't know if we got, oh, not Rivian, from Micron, I don't know if we got this from David. Positivity to everyone. Dave's
we did not.
Dumb trade of the day. Green surprise, Micron turns around and plays magic flute to 480 for the whole market. That would be quite the reversal. That's the level it couldn't break in the aftermarket last night, I believe. It just slightly underneath that. But yeah, there's like an AI mortgage story for Palantir. It's not the biggest headline in the world, but I
don't even know it. So.
It is there. But no, the metals are a pretty big story. Alibaba is another negative story, unfortunately. So let's talk about their earnings. Yuck.
By the moment here, we just broke $125 downside for Baba. You got to go back a couple of weeks now to get into some support areas. Maybe not a good report here at all.
No, and it's not bad. It was a lot of investment in AI, which hurt margins. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that. Their earnings declined significantly. Net income fell 67% year over year. Revenue came in at about 285, a little bit less than 285 billion yuan. That missed, though, the 290.7 expected, but net income, as I mentioned, fell 66% down to 15.6 billion yuan. That's down from 46.6 billion, a significant profitability pressure here. The profit drop was driven by 74% decline in operating income. That is tied, though, to one thing and one thing only: aggressive reinvestment, spending on the spending focused on commerce expansion, user experience upgrades, but the bulwark of the money went to technology and AI infrastructure as they shift to a growth-first strategy at the expense of near-term profitability. Let's talk about their different divisions, because cloud was one of their best ones. Cloud intelligence revenue grew 36% year over year, and they saw triple digits in the AI-related products that they offer you within their cloud. So really looking to monetize like some of their American counterparts, Brendo, but the cloud continues to be their best division.
Yeah, not any sign. I mean, we tried to bounce around 128. That was short-lived here. New leg down already, guys, here this morning for Baba.
It's funny you mentioned they tried to bounce around 128, because I think that's where like the fade zone is, because that was support on the daily chart. It's hard, like if we're gonna say everything we just did about Micron and it was all good and they're to the downside, well, in this particular case, you actually missed on, like you have some misses in here, which is a bit of a different story. And then you also have a chart which is breaking down and trending down, at least from the highs. So with all of that said, 128 was prior support, and it tried to bounce off of that early. I think if you come back into that level, you know, Baba looks like a fade to me. And I say this, look, man, I still have some Alibaba in my long-term account. Thankfully, sold 2/3 of it, but I don't see, and we've talked about this before, like when something's in a bit of a downward trend, I haven't seen the reason yet for it to bounce. It's tried to show you signs, but the 50 period didn't really hold all too well. The 200 period didn't even attempt to hold. So this is one of those where you're zooming out the longer term charts. That's probably what I'll be looking at. Like at some point, it's like, is there anything on like a weekly or monthly chart in the next couple of days that looks good? And Baba for today, 128. If we get back there, it also happens to be VWAP, so you can throw that in there as well if you get a bounce.
Yeah, I was just gonna say here on the sticky note here today. Yeah, we had Baba 130 short. I mean, we write this at 7:45, 8 o'clock as we get ready to go on air. So the Baba short is decent, I think, off a terrible quarter. So you just got to wait to see where that one winds up going. Right now is Alibaba. We're trying to get Rivian down here at 50s right now. Wow, good one so far. 3-to-1 risk on this, but yeah, and you guys were right here when I made my Alibaba trade, and it was going long at 160 and then out at 160. So I just paid fees right there. We got long when it came back in because I was like, you know what, I really liked the PE, I liked all the valuation, everything right there. So we did get long on one of the first moves in. I don't think it was this one because we had missed the first time, but it must have been the second time because I don't remember it ever going too much in the money there. And then when it went down into the 145, 150 area again, I was like, oh God, this does not look good. And then when it broke right back up through 160, we sold that position and so got in and out of it. We probably still have maybe a quarter of it or something. And then it pulled all the way back in right here, right now. I'm not a buyer of Alibaba anytime soon, I don't think. Not a great quarter there, not in the right country. And we'll continue to watch out for Alibaba. And I'm going to try to go short on BABA. It's too bad that like all the levels, and you guys have often said this to me, like write the sticky note now, but then it doesn't get out in time. And I got to host some sort of a program here. But there goes Alibaba to the downside. So I think if we're going to short 130, that was sort of where this 200 period was, and was just thinking like, hey, when it's at 128 and we're writing this note, 130 is only $1 away. So right now, I'm thinking even this 50 period is 126. VWAP up at 128 could be something as well. So we're definitely looking short on Alibaba, and we only have right now 40% left of this Rivian trade. So 15 minutes to go. Tesla, Palantir, and Apple on deck.
More details into this investigation into FSD for Tesla today. A couple angles here. The other one, this chip story, which might be a little bit more exciting long term or down the road as we build out to some sort of autonomous type of operation on a daily basis for Tesla. But it's going to take some time here.
Robotaxis are starting to come off production lines, so sooner rather than later, one would hope. Let's cover the investigation into FSD first. Specifically, the NHTSA is looking at low visibility conditions. They're saying, you know, fog, rain, sun glare. They're basically failing to inform the driver of certain roadway conditions when there are those low visibility conditions. So that's what that's focused on. With respect to the A16 angle here, Elon Musk taking to X basically saying the company could tap out its next-gen AI16 chip by December. Tap out here is a technical term. It marks the final stage before manufacturing. He cited AI-driven design efficiencies as a result of the acceleration of the timeline, something we've been talking about, AI helping designs, whether it's for drugs or in this case, AI chips. It's expected to power the A16 chip, that is, Tesla's FSD systems and humanoid robots. It reinforces their vertical integration. They like do everything from the ground up. Yeah. This is no different.
And just going back to that investor day they had at the end of last year, this was also something that Elon pointed to in that they'll buy as much capacity as they can get from anyone else. And then he said, and we'll build our own and probably still not have enough, you know, to meet the actual demand.
To build on your point, Samsung's making this A16, but they definitely want to build their own fab, as you were saying.
Yeah, so let's see. Not happy, though, today, guys, for Tesla.
Well, what is it? It's not a lot that's going to be happy today. Like, you can't, you know, this is today where I just saw in the chat there's a lot of conversation about this is a buy and this has been dripping and is Microsoft, it's only a 20p. There are a lot of things that are dropping right now, and you have to sort of, you know, sometimes separate like the wheat from the chaff. But when it comes to Tesla, I get it. We're losing that 200 period moving average. That would be a spot. I mean, you're pretty far away from the whole support turning into resistance. Now, I mean, it was a little bit better earlier on in the morning when you would have looked at that 390 as support the resistance. It's also going to be that 200 period moving average support or resistance level that was prior support. I think if we don't close back under that, now we're in some trouble, and we're in the early innings here for Tesla. On the weekly, you haven't broken the 50 period to the downside, but it's actually the monthly chart that I want to look at for Tesla, because when I look at the monthly chart, it's a little bit more ominous. Like it would not surprise me if there's a bigger turnaround and we wait for, like I feel the way about 280 to 300, like I felt about 220 most recently. You know, like that level was, it was kind of like I don't want to call it an obvious spot, but when we pulled back from 500 before, and that was late in 2024, I call it early last year, like that 220 was kind of calling for you as a bit of a level on the long term. And that's what I'm feeling about that 280, 300 on the monthly chart for Tesla, that could be that's like the pull the trigger spot for me if we're not holding at these levels here, which we're starting to break. So yeah, that 390, it's about 390-ish area, that prior support looks like resistance today. But on that longer term look, Tesla's a stock that I could see it falling. It always seems to fall more than some people would anticipate from those highs. So, you know, I do think it puts in a higher low from this last potential fail at 500, but I'd be looking somewhere closer to that 300, 280, where it's like a automatic buy.
Yeah, for sure. If Tesla goes down 25%, I am buying that as well, which is very possible.
Well, that's what people said about 222, and then we were there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. I think it's possible. I mean, you're already down from 500. You're already down that 30% also. So, I mean, there is a good chance there. You know, $500, knock off 115 on that. So you're already down 20+%. Thank you, Randy, right there. That was quick, man. I just asked for it, and Randy immediately delivers. Randy's always on point right now. And Randy, I can't thank you enough for getting the electricity downstairs, man, for the charger, especially these days. But look at Tesla's stock, man. I'm glad I bought the car and not the stock. This is going straight to the downside right there right now. 385 and getting a little lower right now as well. But still actually doing better than a lot of these Mag 7s as we try to hold on to the 200 period moving average. I like the long here at 380. It's just right now the environment is not right for anything long. And I still think the robo-taxis are going to be a thing. I'm not sure what this new NVIDIA talk here about how they can sort of make any car autonomous at some point, I feel like, gives Tesla a little bit of a disadvantage there about all the money they're spending. But these robo-taxis are going to hit the road soon, I guess, right, Randy? I mean, when are they going to start mass producing? Yeah, here you don't know. I don't know when these are actually going to start to be a thing, but not here in Toronto, says Randy. But there we go, man. Tesla. I have it written down as the #1 trade idea. We traded this all yesterday, until we got stopped out just as that number came out. And we didn't hold that many shares, but we were thinking short all day yesterday on Tesla once it broke through this level. We got stopped out once this level broke, is what we were talking about, 398 or so yesterday. You saw me holding that and stopped out there. And then just the bleed was real on Tesla, which was too bad because we were short heading into that, and then that happened, and we shorted the market. So it's all good. Waiting for a VWAP trade. I'm just waiting for a bump. You know, I think in the first, all my losing trades are in the first couple minutes, and all the huge winners are in the next couple after that. So let's give Tesla a little bit of room to breathe. We tried to do that yesterday, and it was somewhat successful down here. Got a couple bumps up. We did get stopped. We did get some outs up near $400 yesterday, but VWAP was key all day, and maybe it is again here today. That's at about 388. 389. So we'll see if that hits right now with only 10 minutes to go. Let me go see if I can short some Palantir. These guys are in mortgages. I want to go short. Let me hear that story over there on the desk, guys.
Yeah, teaming up with a company called Moder, M-O-D-E-R. They're going to co-build, quote unquote, AI mortgage operations platform, which will be aimed at automating and optimizing back office loan processing specifically. So if it's on a banking system type of thing, not necessarily a product basis, might be a little bit better off. But I mean, right now, this thing's holding up a little bit better than most.
And it probably really does refine and improve the underwriting with respect to risk and risk assessment for applicants. And apparently, it's already in early deployments with the first pilot customer here called Freedom Mortgages. And they've reported that, well, it's shown meaningful value through improved speed, accuracy, and it's also benefiting the agents and the homeowners. Not an area that I expected Palantir to throw their hat into, Brendo, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. 152.5, I guess, was that after the close level or consolidation, guys. This thing's been stuck in a range, though, basically the past couple of days.
I would suspect it probably doesn't cost them that much to apply technology to other industries. So I don't think this is a huge story for them. On the plus side here is for as ugly as a lot of things look today, the Nasdaq actually with a little bit of a bounce, not only down 0.7%, Palantir is basically flat, a quarter point down, and is very much still in this consolidative range from the 50 period. So this is a stock, I was looking at Apple holding some lows as well, but Palantir is also a stock that would fall into the category of it has its support intact from the last couple of weeks. And that was, it's not exactly 150. This little wick down here is like 149, but it's that 149, 150 area. Just look at the consolidation here. As far as I would look, until it breaks that, you'd look for a bounce play on Palantir, and the short levels are a ways away up here, like 56 or so. So, yeah, this actually stands out as one which actually has some support on it if we're going to look for some kind of a bounce play. But it's more like the 49 to 50 range on PLTR. You lose that, and there would be some concern of a gap down further. But it's not a huge catalyst on it to be on the top of the list.
Yeah, I'm actually looking. I mean, Palantir is still like a big, like I still hold a bunch of shares in Palantir. It is probably, I still think Google and Meta might be higher and NVIDIA is higher. So maybe it's a third or fourth position in the portfolio, but we've taken off so much of Palantir. I mean, we were in on this thing at 11 bucks. So this has been a good stock for sure. It's just right now, you know, I think it's actually technically pretty good. I mean, you know, you get that beat down into 130. We know Michael Burry, and there was a couple shorts there into their earnings report. And, you know, very much like NVIDIA, you know, we popped on earnings both times there, right? And so back and forth there in January. We just got a little pop rate here as well on earnings, and then rate to the downside there. So a couple good pops and then drops. So I'm just hoping that this last recent move up isn't indicative of what's been happening in the past, where we've popped up and then came right back in. So there's the pop up. Now we just kind of got to hold this area of 149. I mean, obviously, if we do that, then I do think the next level is up into here into 170. Then we can resume regularly scheduled programming back up into 190. But I'm not looking long today. So if my opinion does change, Palantir, at least the fact that it's somewhat up here is okay. But, you know, it's giving it back right now. It was just at 152.60. Now it's down to 151.80. So, like, that was just a big 60-cent drop right there. So that's making it look a little bit, you know, less enticing. So I'm not really looking long today, man, on anything. So we'll just play this by ear. If what happens yesterday to Palantir, you know, there's the move down into the pre-market lows, hold, and then bump up. Well, right now, those pre-market lows are looking like 150, 150. To me, that's just a little too shallow. It's not deep enough for me to be like, wow, let's wait to see if this holds. So I'm going to be patient with Palantir. We've already got a good one on with Rivian here on the short. If the market falls, we'll have that. But I am going to be looking at Palantir, but I'd rather look at it around a key level of 150 and then maybe use that 148.50 as the ultimate bottom. So Palantir not on the radar today. Feels like a good story there. So I'm only looking for negative.
Apple under 250 right now, trying to hold on to it desperately from underneath currently, but could be a little bit of support. Positive numbers coming out of China on the iPhone sales side.
They're really bucking the trend in China, Brendo. I mean, we're down 4% year over year in the broader smartphone market. That's in China. That is unless you're Apple, because you're up 23%. In that country. Apple benefiting from some discounts as well as government subsidies. We know that the iPhone 17, the base model, still qualifies for some of the government subsidies there being offered by the central government. But unlike their competitors, Apple is not aggressively raising prices even as costs rise. We know RAM prices are going through the roof. The strategy here is to absorb the margin pressure, defend, and expand the market share in one of the most important markets in the world. Apple's tight supply chain control allows a better cost management. I was talking to you guys about this earlier. They have these LTAs, long-term agreements with their suppliers that lock in prices. For RAM, specifically for Apple, those LTAs end at the end of this summer. So we probably will see price increases for the 18 and the Fold and whatever the hell else they're going to bring out. Huawei and Apple expected to benefit the most in China from rising prices.
Yeah, Samsung already way too expensive here and there. I was reading this morning as well. 245 is that support level, guys. If we get down to that point, looks like 250 might be a problem right now.
That's the 200 period. I think you buy Apple the 200 period moving average. I think a lot of the, if you go AI bubble concerns, I think you get the positive check mark for that one. If you go relative to the competitors with rising memory costs, you get the check mark for that one. And I know we're not really expecting that the Siri update. That's probably going to be one of the presentations in the summer. But I feel like if you wait for that, then you're probably in a little bit of trouble here. And we're just sort of talking like, it's like, oh, someone was saying, oh, Microsoft, is that going to be a buy? Like, is this going to be a buy? Is that going to be a buy? Like, Baba, these things that have all fallen down. I think Apple's a much safer one here than any of those names that I just mentioned off the top there. But for today, it did lose. Unfortunately, it did lose that 250 just now.
Yeah.
So yeah, the 250 level, which to me was where I was looking for support to come in. We need to regain the 250. If I can see it hold the 250 off the open, just be patient with it. It was one of the few stocks that held that low. I know Palantir is kind of well above it, but this one, it did creep underneath going into this open. It would have to regain this 250 on the 15-minute chart to catch that support. But the daily chart's a different story. You buy that one, the 200-period moving average. I like them better than most.
There's really not much going on here with finally a circle sell I just saw right there. So maybe it's Circle's day to get a little lower as Bitcoin and crypto starting to crack lower as well. I thought buying at 66 was pretty good when it went to 74. Now we're back to 69 right there. Circle down 5+% right now and going lower. That's a name that a lot of you love on the long side. I don't know. We did have, I mean, I didn't see Rivian on here, but it did just bump up a little bit there into 17 almost again. And so I took a bid at 80s. Now we get a little lower there for Rivian. So only a third left of this position right now. But Circle just not really seeing. There's SMR at $11. I mean, you want to talk about here. I'm going to take advantage again as we just went to the downside more in Rivian. So I'm going to try to bid. I'm bidding 70s right here on Rivian. Oh, we just got filled on Rivian. So we just got a 70 fill there, I believe, on RIVN as well. Yep, there it goes. Oh, no, I didn't. Get it, or did I? I don't know. All right, but anyways, there goes Rivian to the downside. Yeah, not much else on here right now that we're really too interested in. Let me see what Nvidia is doing as the market begins to sell off again right now as we open up in 1 minute. I'm in Rivian. Nvidia at the lows and breaking lower right now. So watch out now. There goes Nvidia to the downside. Here comes Tesla to the downside. I mean, to me, well, and actually Tesla's okay. Powell sounded so very hawkish yesterday that I don't really know what to think about this market. I do know that I want to go short the Nasdaq again. The big trade yesterday for me was short this TQQ, basically at the top, let it bleed downward. Looks like we're trying to break lower right now. Wondering if that's just an instant trade right off the open, that day low break of 44.75 or so on the TQs. We'll see if we do that, but I don't want to get in right away. We've so many times seen the markets bump higher and then fade. So we'll be very, very patient with it. Looks like we're going to get that 51 fill on Rivian. And here we go, man. Bring the pain on RIVN. This is why, man, you want to be with us at 8 a.m. We're live every single day at 8 a.m. where we put this trade on, and there it goes to the downside Rivian. See if we get that 1650 with only 5 seconds left. You say thank you for coming in one more time. Watch us on many of your favorite streaming services, including YouTube, which you're watching us on right now. And we do get that 51s right there on open. So Siren's up, man. Already might be the trade of the day. We got to bring that segment back. Okay, here we go, man. We'll just wait to see what winds up happening. We're still short Rivian. I'm bidding 41s.
Oh, the market went right to the downside. Apple 247 as it just flushes.
Shit, man. Talked about that.
Let's forget about SoFi. It's at 55. That's now down at 16.6. Micron is almost at 420 to start the day. I mean, Bitcoin, which we're also looking for. Yeah, there was no pop and fade. At least I shouldn't say there was no pop and fade. We're like 30 seconds into the open. Not much has happened yet, so I don't want to overreact and start chasing. But the first thing I saw was Apple distinctly not hold or regain that 250 level as we just dropped another full percentage. That was one of the only things that was going to be green and now heading to the red. Micron's trying to bounce off 420. That's a pretty decent level. Maybe that Palantir is going to end up holding support. Palantir was actually up at 153 a second ago and then dropped into 151 and heading distinctly lower. So yeah, nothing's really coming in for any pop and fades. Want to be a little bit patient with it. I know silver had bounced, or SLV had bounced. I know we're trying to say SLV instead of silver for all of you guys out there, but it is trending off of those lows. So there is at least a little bit of a bounce there. And one more that we didn't talk about, nat gas. Boyle jumps off the 19 and already trending, blasting through 20. This one's leveraged, so it's going to move a little bit more than nat gas. We like the long off of that prior support level, so I have to look for dips into VWAP. It did this yesterday, consolidated and ran, then dipped into VWAP and ran. So looking for the consolidation or the dip into VWAP here in Boyle.
Remember when we said taking the TQQ short at that break right off the open probably was a trade? Was a trade, didn't take it, fine. Now we just wait for it to bump up. I mean, this was part of the plan. I mean, you know, you gotta participate in your plan, and we just had that right there to the downside again. So we missed that trade. We'll see if we can get it back one more time here. Alibaba is just getting absolutely crushed. I mean, again, like, I'm glad that we were able to get in and out of Alibaba up there at 160, but definitely not glad where the stock is moving right now. Alibaba getting crushed. So far on my watch, we had the TQ short. That's already happened. Alibaba short. See you later. SLV maybe is the next look for me right now, and that was down 12%, and that's actually starting to bump up again right now. So we'll have to see if there is going to be a trade. I'm just chilling out right now and just waiting to see if there is a little bit of a move higher, and then if not, then we might have to get pretty aggressive here on some of these shorts. So I'm just sort of watching out for silver, watching out. There goes Alibaba. I mean, breaking lower, not a good quarter at all for them. And then Tesla, maybe that 380 might be something pretty key. Letting it develop, maybe we find a bottom. It doesn't really feel like today is a good bottom chasing day, but we'll hold on and maybe we get a story that we like and we can go forward with that. CLK, we'll go to the K unit right now. So this is what oil's looking at right here, $97. This is WTI, so we'll have to wait to see. I know Brent is above right now. So yeah, so far so good here this morning. Just watching this market melt. We'll wait to see if we get a bump up and be able to short something.
Yeah, and those defense stocks are going down as well. AMD's down 3%, NVIDIA down 2% as they continue to flush. At least Apple's trying to catch a little bit of a bid here. At least that's trying to do something. Boyle, as mentioned before, still continuing its spike, but looking for that first available pullback over in Boyle. Looks like that could be an opportunity. If it does pull back, it's about 19.5 where VWAP sits and the prior day high. So that would be the first target entry for sure. Micron is trying. It is still trying to bounce, but it's kind of struggling at VWAP. This could be the litmus test for the market, right? If this can get going, then you would see enough of a bounce to drag a lot of things up with it. If it's not going to be NVIDIA, at least these guys had a good report that you can at least sink your teeth into. Bitcoin is still under 70,000. That's not really popping enough to get an entry, in my opinion. If it does, if we hold the first couple of candles under VWAP, I might take that quick little scalp trade under VWAP and see if it continues like yesterday. Like it did this in yesterday's trade, but it was down so much. I don't want to be too early when we're gapping down here. But that VWAP trade is setting up, so I got to be into it.
Yeah, no, 100%. There seems to be some trades setting up here for sure, and it looks like we're going lower as we just wait for opportunities, man. I mean, I think a fill at 70 there on Rivian, it does start to rip up just a little bit there, so we'll have to watch out for RIVN right now. You're going to get a treat in just a couple minutes. We do not have Adara here with us today. We have Sia here today. So she will be bringing some of the breaking news to you guys and covering up some of those that are asking about Adara. She is off today, and Sia will be filling in and just taking over in just a couple seconds here with some news. Okay, you might see her in the background. Hi, Sia. There she is. All right, what's going on, girl? All right, so here we go, man. Nice downside play for silver. Let's see if that continues. That's making a move back to VWAP. Maybe there's a short there at VWAP for silver. 62.30s. I could get involved in that if that's where we come up to. So 62.30 for SLV, just a play that I'm looking at over here on this side and waiting to see if things are bottoming. I mean, it looks like the TQs might be thinking about making a slight reversal there, 44 and change for the TQQs, or are we just setting up for another day off break lower there on the Nasdaq? So yeah, still a little early though. It's 9:36. Normally I do have a position on right now, but on today I do have a great one on. It's Rivian, but we were just waiting for something to develop. Neil's in IBIT. I guess that's our first position of the day.
Yeah, so I see in the chat people are mentioning Snowflake is the upside. Don't know why. We'll check to see. I saw a bit of a bump in here at like $3, and it did hit one of my watch lists. Or not, it's not a watch list. It's not on a watch list. It's just like the trade rate thing. It popped up a little bit. But that's only because it was doing no pre-market volume before, so any spike is going to make it look like it's doing a heck of a lot. But so far, it's just VWAP and IBIT, which will be about, it's 39.42. Hey, that's the meaning of life. So if we break that, that's a pre-market support level, and it's also the volume-weighted average price I'd be jumping out. But I think it's going to be the scalp trade here, and then see if it matriculates into anything more. I wish I could tell you that NVIDIA was bouncing. No, 176. Remember, NVIDIA has lost the 200-period moving average on the daily. That's not nothing. So has Tesla. as well. That continues to go lower. It's already at 380. Yeah, there's not going to be a pop and fade in Tesla. Even if it bounced here, like that's not a pop and fade. That'd be like a retracement into VWAP or something like that as it's trend down. Not looking very good, unfortunately, for Tesla. But yeah, just for me, it's just but it just kind of retested that volume weighted average price again. So we'll scalp inside the first 10 cents at 1-to-1 and then see if it flushes down into the lows. But nothing else is really setting up. If you were looking to fade pops today, there haven't been any.
No, there hasn't been anything. I mean, that's why I'm sitting here, hands on my knees, hands on your knees. Okay. So we do get a little bit of a bounce back in the TQs. I mean, my eyes are going everywhere trying to find out where there's the next opportunity because I'm waiting for a little bit of a bump. Maybe Circle. I mean, Circle was getting hit earlier today, so that could be a good call there as well. Yeah, Circle back to 90 area. Yes, very, very possible right now for Circle. I mean, here's SoFi, CRCL. I'm still looking for a trade, so I'm going to be a little busy here right now. But yeah, you actually are basing out right now on Circle. This could be a good long from here. What 90? I don't know. But 100 would be a good look, and right there 113 a decent look, but I'm not even sure. Crypto's downside right now. I actually like crypto for the long, so it's not completely out of the pocket. Man, we called that little look there on the TQs for a potential bottom pick, but again, we are trying to look short, so we're not going to cheer the long that we don't have right now. But the Nasdaq is trying to bump up. I mean, maybe if we got back to some of these levels, I would think about the short 44.80 up to 45 or so as an area. So let's put an offer at 44.80 and see if we're able to grab some shares there. I think that's worth a little bit of a shot. Upside near 44.80. Short it right into there on the 25 period moving average. Then we have the 50 period. And then if we take VWAP, we'll punch out. I think it's well worth the shot right now. Let's start the trade here on a little bit of a move higher. We're shorted at 60. I'm still waiting for 80s. That'll be the bigger trade. Then we'll wait for 45 flat, and then we'll deal with it then. Hopefully we don't get to there if we're going to start it at 80. But little early take here on the Qs just to see what winds up happening. We're long the Nasdaq right now on a triple levered ETF.
Just want to quickly show this.
Short.
Someone half a mil bid here on IBIT. That's held the bottom end of this range. There it is. And then someone flashing 1 million shares underneath it a couple of times. So there's a couple of, I don't want to say super large bids because relative to volume, it's not that big of a deal, but they are huge relative to the normal liquidity, and they're just sitting there holding up this range. So until they burst through, you're not going to get that low of the day, but I'm going to continue with the whole, like just reload it in front of that resistance. But there is that big seller there. And I'm not sure there's spoofs. The first order was getting filled, that 500,000. The 1 million share order didn't get tagged because it's underneath. Sometimes you see that. They'll put the smaller order up front that they'll actually take the fill, but the one underneath is the fake one. I don't know whether that's going to be true. SoFi, by the way, this actually looks like a bottoming tail candle and potential breakout. So if it does get to my level of 17.25, and again, in the pre-market, that kind of looked like it would be easy resistance, that will be
Which one?
A bottoming tail breakout trade.
Global X?
Which I'm not a huge fan of shorting into without a lot of patience required. So I might not be in SoFi very early. This is just IBIT for me. Still having a quick look over there at Boyle to see what we're doing here. It's almost at VWAP, but not yet. So I feel like that trade hasn't really come in to fruition yet. It's just IBIT right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way right now, just sitting on these TQ trades, waiting to see if something's going to come of it right now. I did trade a little bit of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac just real quick right there. It is on a straight move higher. We were short early. We got out, and then there goes the bump right there on FNMA, upside on Fannie and Freddie, I'm assuming. There. We looked at this yesterday, same kind of a thing where you just moving up and down on this name. You see the chart here for FMCC and FMNA. Lots of downside trading happening in the space right now. That is for sure. Okay, we are now reloaded right there. So now we've got on here. It's more like we've just got on a trade right now. So we are into the TQQs. Looks like it wants to go higher right now as we just really rally up right now into some of those prints. And listen, fine by me, man. I mean, we want to try to get a little bit of VWAP action happening right now. So if we do come up over, I was actually waiting over 45. We can wait for 45.05 just to see if we do wind up taking it. We should be short in and around VWAP. I did take it there, some of it anyways. We shouldn't have probably taken that, but that's okay. That was light. You can see my average price right now. We just got 77, so my average price 74. So we're at VWAP here. I'll just take a little bit more. Wow, we might have just missed VWAP exactly. That's too bad. We should have been sitting right there. But there it is. We'll take a little bit of shares on this bump up, and then we'll wait for that 45.05. And then honestly, man, I was thinking about just stopping out if we break like 45.20s or something like that to the upside. So let's be careful with this trade on the TQs, but that's what I'm looking at right now, 45.20. Is that exactly? I don't want to take that wick. 45.22s or so. If we break that, then we can get out. But I'm comfortable being in the short right now. I think we got a decent price, and at least if we wind up losing at this price, we know we're at VWAP and we didn't start the trade too early. So there we go. Short at 77s. Good enough for me. Let's just see where it goes.
Yeah, I just kept it thankfully tight. That buyer was real. It tagged them again, and they left all those orders in there in IBIT. So they were really trying to get that 1.5 million. It seems like, but it busted through VWAP, so we got out. It'll end up being a flat trade, but I'm not going to get in until I see some kind of a trend break or re-enter the trade. I still believe we're well underneath our levels for a short, which would be the prior lows, but it has broken VWAP, so I have to wait for it to get a little bit higher. I'm just looking up. SoFi still continuing to gravitate to the upside, but remember, it was 17.5 where the short was in the afternoon, and that was that level that it retraced to after the Muddy Waters report. So any move into that, I'm looking for a trend reversal on oil. Again, looking at natural gas, that's still trying to get into VWAP for an entry into long. I won't keep wanting to say reload, but not really a reload because I haven't been into it. And I just see in the chat the Marines and a lot of people saying Microsoft this and IGV that. Microsoft is green.
Yeah, man, people are liking the IGV now.
Oh, IGV is this. Oh, yeah, that's even better. Forget about green. IGV's up 1% and really churning. So the software names staging a comeback here today. That would be a great sign.
Here, I mean, this is, I was just about to talk about this, and then you went to the IGV. Yeah, Salesforce up huge. Yeah, no, that's good. I'm saying the Salesforce up huge right now. Good little level there for anybody watching out for some CRM, and obviously if the IGV is up, we could probably expect Adobe to be up as well there today, as some of these fears getting quelled just a little bit about some of the dangers with that Citrini report, obviously going back up to the upside. Let's check out on the big data center play here with Oracle, 154 and change. Adair, if you're watching, I hope you're doing well. 149 up to 154. Every time I think about Oracle, I just think about the thousands and thousands of dollars that Adair saved me. Up here at 317 is where I was able to get out right here. Because she was talking crap on it after its earnings report right here, fell down, and on that bump up, I was like, I'm just going to get out. So want to thank Adara for that one. But there's Oracle right now, nice move lower on that. Nice move higher, sorry, on Oracle right now. Alibaba, always a play. Especially on earnings, and you can see there on this big Chinese conglomerate, Alibaba downside, not a great report. So, you know, be missing on everything, and not a great guide either, as we have some worries about China poking its head back into today's market again. So FXI, China talking about Straits of Hormuz and everything like that, waiting to see what is going to open up there. China and Russia don't seem to be playing that well right now in that space. Oil, though, right here saying hold my beer for a minute, not doing anything right now is crude, as we just hang. All right, so that's that. And then the one more play I want to look at was silver. So if we go to SLV here, we could check out the ETF. Still, I mean, it looks like the market wants to figure itself out. We're right back into flat now on, well, it just went into the money a little bit. I'm not going to take this. I'm waiting for 44.50s. So if we can get that on the TQs, then fine. But we just came back into the 25 period and held it. So I don't like that right now. I don't like the look of what I'm seeing right here. I thought the market would have been a lot lower here today, not bouncing. But we're still fine. We're still kind of in the pocket on this trade. So let's be patient and wait. I think that's the best thing for me now, is wait to see what winds up happening. Tesla, huge bounce, man, off 480. You talk about, you know, psychological levels. Well, psychological it was there. Huge bounce at 480. You don't get like a huge candle there at 480, but sorry, a huge volume bar, but the wick was real, down to 380 and right back up in the same minute. And now you take off underneath VWAP here as well. This looks like a decent trade. We're already short the market, but you know, anything that battles back to VWAP, I would think is a little bit of a short if you were thinking short to begin with, right? Like Apple is strong.
Well, that's sort of the thing. Like if you were thinking short to begin with, Apple is strong, and I'm going to kick myself over that one because, well, first things first, Intel came to the next resistance level. Sorry, IBIT. I have Intel on the brain because I was just looking at that chart. I'll get there in a second. Did put a topping tail candle in this resistance, so jumped in on the other side. If it respects VWAP, fine. If that 1.5 million buy is still there, then you take shares out in front of it. That was at 26, so it would have to go a quarter down first before it gets there. But if it's still there, I would respect it. Someone did want to legitimately buy. Apple's back above 250, so like it ends up holding. Look, obviously it ends up holding 247. That's kind of random, but it's going to close above that 250 on the 15-minute. Well, it already has closed above that in the 15-minute. So I think if VWAP can catch up, I'd look at VWAP, at least for now. Right now, it's $1.50 from the volume-weighted average price. But I will look for a buy the dip. It's the only stock I was thinking long. It was like kind of on Palantir, but this was on the list before we started talking about Palantir as well. And then just to mention Intel, the chips are not really doing as much of a bounce, and this has gone through the pre-market highs and is getting very close to that close price, that 45 from yesterday. So I'm being pretty patient with it. A lot of times when I think Intel is short and it's doing this, I'd already be into it, but this time I'm actually waiting for it to get to the 45 level here. But it is on the rally. Super strong names out here, especially led by Microsoft and some of those software names. Let's go to Thea for the first time.
Yeah, I have multiple sources reporting here. Qatar Energy CEO Saad Al-Kaabi has told Reuters that the Iran attack has knocked out 17% of Qatar's LNG capacity for the next 3 to 5 years. And he also said that the 3 damaged facilities represent about 20 billion in lost annual revenue. And the stock is right up on my screen.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
They're 20%. Thank you, Sia. They're 20% of the global market.
I have a new trade over here right now with Intel. I don't know, man. I mean, a huge move higher for INTC, kind of like right into yesterday's kind of closing prices right into here. So if we break above 80, we're going to get out of Intel. But we put on another trade right there, INTC, giving it a go. Going to wait to see if we get 40, basically right into here. Like, I just put my bid at 45. So we'll see if we can get something around where this wick comes into play if we do retrace right back into the 200 period moving average. So let's just play a little bump and then grind back down, and we'll see if that one wants to wind up holding. I mean, the shorts right now aren't really printing, so a little bit of nervous hands right here as we hold out for a move lower. It doesn't look like we're getting that right now on the futures, so we are a little nervous about this break here now. Here it goes, of VWAP. So as we just mentioned, man, be very, very weary of this. The market is not going lower, which is great for the long term. And it was looking really scary real early there, but it looks like we're okay right now. And I just kind of chuckle because I have no idea where this market's going. There it is, quickly in and out of Intel as it breaks higher. That was a quick one, man. That was a quick little 10-cent hit. We talked about 44.80s as being our stop into yesterday's levels. So as this market continues to go higher, looks like we waited. We got levels that we liked, but just right now breaking through. We do get our last fill up here. If we take out what we said, 20s or 22s, then we'll punch ourselves out of this TQQ trade, but it looks like it's ripping right now. So bye-bye goes the Nasdaq, and we'll have to regroup on this trade a little bit higher if we wind up getting stopped out, which it looks like is going to happen here. Market going higher. Was not expecting that one. I felt like the Fed was pretty hawkish yesterday, and doesn't look like that matters much today as the market got hit down pretty good early and then bought right back up. I mean, I don't know if this is an oil story. Like, is oil actually going down now?
Headlines from
Yeah, oil going down a little bit there, but I don't think that that's really the reason. I mean, the market's taking off here. Good vibes today in the Nasdaq, that's for sure. As here we go, man. Almost ran my level right there. Nasdaq on a run right here.
Well, it did run on IBIT. I want to try to keep things in perspective, which is like, okay, we might be trending up. I don't want to get too stubborn about it. We're not even anywhere close to where we were yesterday. On IBIT, that's like 40 to 40.25. So there's a lot that this can push up where I'd have to be patient for the back end of it. I'll keep waiting for like that topping tail, trend reversal, that kind of a thing for a pullback. Intel did get to that 45, that's the level I was sort of waiting for here, but it's not. No topping tail candle, no consolidation. It's too steep and too early for any kind of a trend break because it's only 950. So it'll have to be like a topping tail, obvious lower high entry if I can find one. This is where it just went green. There's
Yeah, the Qs just ran the top.
So the only other thing to watch is, for myself anyways, Boyle got to VWAP. So there's prior day high, and it's trying to bounce off this volume weighted average price. With this market strength, you do wonder, if the Nasdaq got green today, I'd be incredibly surprised after the tone that was set. And I feel like that would be an interesting line in the sand if the Nasdaq tries to go green. But that could be the next spot. If you're waiting for levels to matriculate, like Intel 45 and this VWAP here on Boyle, the ones that I haven't watched. Keep throwing those symbols in there, and appreciate everyone with the dollar signs. NBIS, NVIDIA, lots that we haven't even gotten to. Micron. See if that one can actually rebound. That'll be a biggie. But I'm in a Boyle. It did bounce out to volume weighted average price here. Just wait till it got to this consolidation level. If we get a secondary close, I'd probably add to it at the 60s because that's a better entry. I do want to price mid 60s. That way I'd be risking about 15 pennies into that prior bar low. So this and Intel are going to be on watch. And I guess we're just going to keep doing this fire testing forever.
Yeah, it's forever and ever.
Well, it's such an important thing, safety, that I think we should do the fire alarm test every single day.
What am I keep pushing the wrong prices?
Sure.
Man.
You guys probably, I don't know, you guys probably can't hear it, but.
I don't think
you guys can't hear it. They're testing the
I
fire
don't think
alarm
for them it's a thing right
now.
45, okay, I keep putting the wrong price. 45.36 right there on the high of the day for the Nasdaq. Okay, all right, so, just realizing there that the 200 period is at 30s, so I'm gonna still stay in this short. We are underneath right now, VWAP right there. We did just run it on, it was different. The VWAP's different on the TQs there for me than it is actually on the Nasdaq itself. So understanding and realizing that right now, we'd wanna try to go short again right now into that play. So we'll see if there is a continuation right now from the short off of what looks like legit VWAP now. So my bad on that one. It looks like we misplaced our stop. So we'll go back into the short. And if it runs 45.30s or so, then we'll get out that 200 period moving average. Okay by me if that winds up happening. But we are still looking for a retracement, right? I'm still looking for this right back into here where we held last. So up to the 200 period and back down. Rivian, we don't have very many shares left. Less than 20% left on Rivian. Our best out, we got one right there at 63. We got another decent fill at 70s on VWAP. Obviously, with this market going higher, and there goes the break right now, it looks like, on the Qs. So, yeah, the short today going to get waxed a little bit here to the upside. So the short not working out. Rivian going back higher. I don't know what to think. Let's just get out of Rivian if it breaks 20s, 5s right now. I'm not going to hold this all the way back up to the upside. Even though it's only 20%, you hold it too far, a winner becomes a loser real quick. So we got to watch out for that. 17.26 or so as my out there on Rivian, and we'll see what's going on. But yeah, market on the way up right now. It looks like that was a good dip buy in Tesla.
NVIDIA took VWAP here.
NVIDIA took VWAP.
AMD, sorry, just a frog in the throat. AMD took VWAP. Apple got the high of the day. So you're getting a lot that's really starting to break out. IBIT, thankfully, we didn't take another shot at that. That's continuing to trend higher. Said this morning that this could be one of those where you trend down all morning long, and that if you're thinking short when you sat down, that you might have to wait a while before it actually comes into the levels that you would have marked down. So that it could be after 10 o'clock. It's easily possible here. I'm getting that feeling with regard to Intel. And if you look at what's happening with the metals, there's silver. Look, SLV, I know it's down 9%, but that just broke VWAP. That is all uptrend. It's very clear, higher low, higher highs, all that kind of stuff. You guys know what I'm getting at. But you're not even where we were at 8 o'clock. So there's a lot for this to be able to go into. And I know we always want to see the markets go up. That's a nice thing in a general sense. But if you were thinking some of these levels were resistance based on sentiment yesterday, not a heck of a lot has changed yet. So the only thing I'm still in is I look for a sign that Intel could even slow down. Boyle, we're trying to add to that VWAP.
Oh yeah, Boyle.
We'll look for that 20 to come in. But the thing about this was it was bigger after, it's like he does a consolidation, then push, does VWAP, then push. But the afternoon was all the biggest moves here. Let's go to Sia and get another update.
So U.S. Senate panel has voted to advance Trump Homeland Security nominee Markwayne Mullin. And now let's just look at who exactly is Markwayne Mullin here. He's been the U.S. Senator for Oklahoma since the year 2023. And before that, he was in the U.S. House of Representatives for almost 10 years. He has also been a strong supporter of President Donald Trump and his policies during the Trump's mass deportation agenda. And he's also told reporters that my focus is to keep the homeland secure.
Thank you there, Sia. Okay, this could be
Maybe
the
the market's,
tail.
yeah, maybe the market's coming back in right now. So far, so good. Oh, Marissa just sent me Toronto Comic-Con. What? That's right now, March 20 to the 22nd. Oh, God. My kid probably wants to go to that. That's exciting. Okay, so nice downside push here happening. We still are short.
1 years ago.
The market.
Fun than you think.
Yeah, no, I think it's really fun. I just think it's more money for me. All right, so there's a downside push there for the markets a little bit.
Open that wall.
We're still. Oh yeah, the wallet is open 24/7. You should have seen dinner last night. That was a very expensive operation. Of course, my 11-year-old gets the Barada upgrade. Like, this girl is too much, man. All right, 44. Wouldn't trade it for anything, of course. 45 and change. Good little level there. We take out something there at 45.10s right now, or sorry, 45.10s. As we get a little bit lower here on the TQQs, we did keep stopping. We really only take this trade 3 times. Still too many times, but I kept putting in 44s. Stopping out. So it kept on punching me out when I didn't mean to do it. So we kept on, it's the same price. I mean, we're right here short. We did get stopped out. So one of our only stop outs was when we broke 20s. So that was like a legit stop out there. And then we ran into it, and I realized that the TQs, VWAP is a little different here than the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq is, of course, new contract today. So be careful with that. Yeah, you probably didn't even switch over. I was just looking at it, and I realized it once VWAP was off. So instant. Yeah, there you go, Ryan. You are 100%. Barada is an instant order on any menu. So yeah, man, she, we give her the goods, and then now we pay for it. Just like I said the other day, what do you want for dinner? Steak and lobster, the first thing out of their mouths, and instead it's ramen noodles and chicken. But no, nice downside play there right now. The wife actually sent me a air fryer she's looking to pick up right now. Air fryers, we had one and used it too much, and it broke down. So the Ninja air fryer right now being talked about in my family. All right, I'm gonna take a little bit of a move down here on Rivian. Not that it's actually moving down, but we do get that pull back into 17 bucks again. So we're short. We'll take 20 cents on it. We've already done really well. We only have 20% left on Rivian. This was that early take there on the Uber talk, yeah, the Rivian drop was great, but it got bought up kind of early here in the market. So we've got to be careful with that play. There it is. We get that fill right there, right now. Too early, obviously, on the Intel offer, but I was pretty happy with it. I'm just a trader of setups. So, to me, it came right back there into 44.80. The market was bleeding early, so I thought that, a little bit of a bump we've seen many times. But I thought, like, now it's 10 o'clock, right? It's like, so it's making me a little nervous that the futures really aren't coming back in at all. So that's not a play that I'm super excited about right now this short. We got to give it a second. It feels like there's more news underneath. Even silver right here at the 200 period moving average. They're all looking like setups to me short.
And we just had home sales.
Yeah, we just had wholesale numbers. Okay, did we want to go to Sia there? Or I don't know if she was ready for that or not, but there are numbers that just came out there, so we can always check that out. New home sales, 587 versus 722. So new home sales lower right there. Wholesale inventories lower as well. So everything lower, and of course that just means the market goes higher. So remember, bad numbers might be good numbers now because the Fed ain't cutting, and they're going to need some data to do that. So watch out now for a cut.
That's exactly what happened on that number. Like, you were the only red candle on Intel was the entry just now. Got the topping tails looking for, got the entry that I wanted. But realistically, like, the second that number dropped, it went from getting the first bid at the 1-to-1 to potentially breaking back out. So I'm going to stay with it. Like, it's still the same setup, topping tail candle, all that good stuff. But overall, there was a little bit of a spike on that wholesale number there. I know we got a couple of super chats, but I wanted to bring you just quickly, if I could, back over to a name of strength. That's going to be Apple. It's almost, it's coming back in. It's not at the 250 yet, but it is starting to come back in here. Apple was one of the strongest names out there. If that can give me VWAP, that's where I'm looking initially, and it's getting closer to that 250 level, so finally pulling back. Boyle, I'm just looking HOD at that 20 level. It already tapped 20 once, and I think yesterday, like early on, it had a hard top on the morning, so I'm looking for just a similar pattern there, like VWAP to the hard top, and then look for a secondary breakout a bit later.
Okay, yeah, we got more short up there, and we'll just have to wait to see what winds up happening here with that play, and then we'll take some more out as our average price is right here right now at 32. So, okay, you know, it's not going to be a big hit, obviously, if we take a big hit now. We were just back into the teens on the Nasdaq, and then we got those numbers, and we bumped up a little bit there. So hopefully we can get a retracement back down into that area. I do have a bid 30s and then mid-20s. Here comes 30, hopefully, and here comes mid-20s, hopefully. And then we'll be able to get, we just missed it. We'll try to get a bid down there and see if we can run this short to the downside a little bit. But definitely resilient market early, man. I mean, it's only bumping up. This does not look like an interesting level for me now. We need to get a lot lower. We need to break through VWAP if anything's going to happen. The market definitely jittery up here. How choppy is this, man? I mean, the market just opens up and we get pretty good chop right now, like all the way to the downside, chopped up in here, and then we just keep on legging higher right now. So yeah, not a great experience for the short so far. I still want to be in it, but obviously understanding that the market, you know, is a living, breathing, crazy animal sometimes and just wants to go up to the upside right now today. I didn't see anything in yesterday's report that was exciting for me to go long. So that's why I'm a little bit playing the short side of the trade here today. Rivian down into the 80s, so I think this is worth it. I'll put a bid there. We punch out some 87s right there. Take advantage of at least this name going down. Looks like we'll be wrong on the Nasdaq here today. Still early, don't want to hang it up yet, but doesn't look very promising, especially with this hold. And we were just bidding 27s. We got to 28 and didn't get filled. So hopefully we can get that fill as we get back from Sia. Let's throw to her now and see what she's up to.
Yeah, just taking a look at numbers here. The new home sales number came at 10 a.m. this morning, standing at negative 17.6 from its previous one at negative 6.8%. And new home sales also came in at 0.587 million, with the previous number at 0.712 million, with a 0.125 million difference.
And then whatever it is, it's taken the market high, but it is led by, I think we can look at Micron as a leader of this ship to a certain extent. It's now only down 4%. It's broken the pre-market highs. It's getting into those lows from the aftermarket yesterday. So big time recovery and reversal over there in MU. Oh no. You see, this is the thing. I'm looking in three places, and I might have missed that curl here in IBIT. So I'm going to say I have. Like, there was your fail break of the high and a bit of a trend break, so I'll see if I can get picked up in here. Was trying to patiently wait for it to fill in more of this gap. I guess that did happen, and I was looking at Intel in the moment. Whoops, that's the wrong price. I wanted 67, so we'll go to 67 instead of 77. But Intel continues to go higher because that's where the eyeballs were, as that one seems to want to break it out. We got our topping tail candle on it. There we go, hit enter a second time. But it's going to break that prior bar high. And once it does, that's where the stop is and we'll be out. So hands are off the keyboard. I don't know, Jesus at the wheel, people like to say. If we break that prior bar, then we're going to be jumping out of it. But did miss that shot in Intel. And then one more for you. SoFi was the other name on my list. I'll get to that in a second. We're going back over to see at the desk with an update.
So OpenAI has reportedly plans to acquire Astral, which is a startup that makes Python tools for developers. This is from a report according to Bloomberg, and I have on my screen here details. Astral has built some of the most widely used open source Python tools, helping developers move faster with modern tooling like UV, Rough, and Tide. This is coming directly from OpenAI's news source.
Okay, thanks, Sia, for that one as we watch out for some OpenAI news. Just continue to be the same sort of methods here short. All right, nice little drop down. I'm going to take advantage of this move. Again, we'll bid some 20s now. We got to take advantage of that. So we get filled there. I think 22s there on the move down on the futures. So good little levels there. We'll see if we can keep going and make lows now. I mean, lows. I would be sick if we got back into the low. I don't know if that's going to necessarily be the case, but here we go. A little fill there. We're still bidding mid-teens to see if we can get something. That's where the 25 period moving average is. So we've been bouncing off there. Every kind of a swipe down gets met by buyers, but you can see right here, the volume on the Nasdaq very, very low right now. So not much going on there. Let's talk about the broader market right here. First of all, the dollar right now getting lower. So that's, that's generally can be a good sign, again, for multinationals, which is not great for me being short, obviously, the Nasdaq right now. But there's the dollar getting weaker into today. So 99.60s as we see gold weaker, silver weaker, US dollar weaker, oil kind of just jamming around. So we'll have to look back at oil in a second. But here's the broader picture right now as we look. So it's pretty red across the board. I mean, it was a lot redder right there on open, if that's even a word. But here goes the caterpillars of the world. We talked about this with our good friend today, the industrial sector with Mitch. Talking about XLI is now at 2-month lows on the XLI. This is producer manufacturing is the category here, but Caterpillar down, GE Vernova, like a lot of these names, Deere not having a great day either today, down a couple points there. NVIDIA, like I said, I really do like NVIDIA moving forward, so it's almost time. I did not buy anything yesterday. I want to look to see about that 170 area. We're getting close to that. We'll see if we can dip by some NVIDIA. Nothing wrong with maybe even doing that now. Look at Micron, man. Again, we said the long to look for would be Micron, and right there today, MU is making that battle back. I mean, a good company with a great report, and there it goes, man. It does take out the lows of the pre-market. Actually, that was basically not really. The pre-market lows were already taken out. This is that development right at the beginning of the day. And then we based out, and then we ripped. So if I had been on this stock and noticed this, similarly to Tesla or something like that, then oh boy, that would have been the trade. But we've already got a trade on right now. That's a diamond hand one right here with Rivian. As we said, we would try to hold on to a little bit. So we do that, and Rivian comes right back in again. So we'll get knocked a little bit on the Qs. Hopefully position pending, that one works out for us. But Rivian definitely right here is your chicken dinner winner of the day for me. Rivian continues to go a little lower there. So had that one early, man. And glad we did, because working out for us. At least one trade here on this side is working.
And of course, on that Uber headline, it got that early spike that's been faded with the market. But what's been going usually counter to the market has been nat gas. So it's a weird one in that you're bouncing at the same time, but that is what's happening, at least for now. We are getting into that top and starting to get to that point where it can't really press any further. It just, every time it gets above 20, someone just keeps slamming it back down to 99, 97. So if that pattern doesn't change, it'll be, I was looking for the top, just like yesterday. So here's your all morning long, the same high, and then back into VWAP. So that's kind of where my head is at. Yeah, I just saw them do it again. So we're going to jump out. I'm already on the bid in front of VWAP to try to get back in at that volume weighted average price. And then IBIT did come in. There was that topping tail that we missed before. I'm still sitting there trying to get that. I wanted that mid-60s as a price. I wasn't able to get it. I only got filled at 60. Still sitting there. If we get another bounce off VWAP, I'll short that same level. But we're now back at the volume-weighted average price as IBIT or Bitcoin starts to come back down. Bitcoin's still under 70,000. Like, for all that bounce, like IBIT went from the lows of 39.1 to 39.75. We're at 69.6. So, you know, as long as we're resisting 70,000 on actual Bitcoin, then to me, the short's in play. If it's not breaking out above 70,000, then that's where I'd probably consider going long. With that not happening, we're just going to only look for short entries in Bitcoin, looking for the low of the day now here on IBIT if we're able to get it. It looks like really starting to come back in. Oh, that's right, SoFi. Sucks SoFi. It's still looking pretty weak. It looks. Any kind of bounce that it had, we're under VWAP. So if you're looking for it to hold that low from the Muddy Waters report, that looks like it's going to get tested today. So I think we're not getting $17.50. That was the key price from before. VWAP's the only other place to go for me on SoFi.
All right, man, there it is. I told you about this earlier. This was most likely going to be my trade of the day, and we go all the way down into the 200 period moving average. We got overfilled and punched out right away. So that's the end of the Rivian trade, man. I mean, you get the top of the day into the bottom of the day. You got to be happy with that as Rivian fades completely off. I mean, looking and we could have, I guess, like if I wasn't just so focused here on the Nasdaq, I guess we could have took some more, but I don't know. Like, I don't think I would have taken some more at 17, and just an odd level there for me anyways on Rivian, 17.10. So didn't really see any reasons to reload it, but there it goes, man. It's your sirens up. Trade of the day for me there on Rivian. It doesn't look like we're getting a trade of the day on the Qs, but we did do good there. We did average out. Oh, we got some more shares there. We did get good out there at 11s. I mean, we got that fill. We got the 25 period, but it looks like it wants to run the top right now again here on the TQs. Pretty aggressive move all the way back to the upside. I'm going to change my stop to 45.56s. It was just a breakthrough 50, but it's a pretty aggressive move right now to the high side. We do average it in, so average price now 37s. It looks like we will. Here it goes, man. Wow, this market is a lot excited about it right now. But let's go over to Neil. We'll get the ad read, and then we'll come back and see what's going on with the Qs here.
Yeah, speaking of this market moving, they've been really active lately, and for traders, this environment creates opportunity. Big moves mean there are more setups and there's more momentum. So to take advantage of these conditions, you need two things: discipline and access to capital. That's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your account, traders can access firm capital and focus on executing their strategy and managing risk. No more fear of blowing up your personal account. No more moving your stop loss too early because you're worried about your own savings. This is limited risk trading. So if you want to take advantage of the volatility in these markets without risking your own capital, visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code now to get 10% off. Shout out to them, and thank them for sponsoring this next hour of the show. And also shout out to Mitch for coming on in the morning. You know what? In honor of Mitch, what is CF Industries doing? I guess the market's weak, so I guess some of those like food names that have been beaten up might not be catching the bid. That was more maybe of a counter trade. But I did like that call out because they were active last week when I was gone. That was one of the things I noticed when I was in Florida. I was like, oh yeah, look at some of these like wheat plays are interesting, fertilizer plays are interesting in this environment. But also we're potentially bouncing off of the volume weighted average price here on IBIT. It's at least downward trending for now, but I'll have to wait for it to get to that top. The only other thing on watch for me right now is SoFi. Like, the market seems to want to go higher, this wants to go lower, so that makes it pretty valid to short pops in, I think. Like most things right now are looking a little bit strong. So next available pop into VWAP, and I want to fade SoFi. Remember, muddy water support. Oh, we just got a super chat. I haven't looked at this one today, and I don't know if you can throw it up there, Andre. I'm a little bit slower. Oh, we got a bunch. I'll do the last one I see, and we'll try to get to as many as we can. Shane B. Smokin'. Hopefully, SWMR going for 70, long at 30. Well, that IPO was in the right space, right? What can you say about that stock? It's been absolutely insane. It's not, is it? SWMR. There we go. He just typed it incorrectly in the Nasdaq. It hit 64, so maybe you get your 70. I don't know if this is in the aftermarket. It probably was up at 63. That's why you have dark pools there. But yesterday's highs are a little bit of resistance for now. But what an unreal IPO this has been. Super small is the story. It's the smallest IPO of the year, I think, by notional value. So it gives it an opportunity to squeeze, right? Like, just lower the float, less liquidity there is. These kind of things can happen. It's just unusual to see this. So yeah, good look there. Make sure you always take your profits, though. I feel as if when that one unwinds, it could be pretty nasty. They priced the IPO at $5.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, now it's up to $60. Crazy times right there for Kyle Schwarber and company. All right, I'm going to bid. I just bid some 23s there. We just got out immediately on that move down. We've bid it a couple times, so saved by some movements to the downside. Not saved, but the market almost ran us there to the upside as we sort of changed our stop a little bit, as we got a pretty aggressive move there. And I don't ever want to stop out on those kind of aggressive moves. If we're going to, sort of edge up, that's fine. But like one little shot like that, somebody just hitting the buy key, I don't want to stop out on that. So we'll change our offer. And, you risk losing more when you do something like that. So glad it's working out now as we have. Give me that. Yes, sir. Come on, man. We're doing it again over here. What's up, Hamster and everybody in the chat, man? I hope you guys are all doing real well. All right, so Palantir here. Wow, get down, man. Yes, sir. Man, we're doing that again on the Nasdaq. Let's go. This time, keep going, man. Don't keep holding those bids, Nasdaq. All right, Palantir, a good high side again. I mean, we talked about any dip buy opportunities. We mentioned 150, but again, like I said to you at the beginning of the day, man, I'm not going to sit there. Yeah, Nasdaq just bounced again. Come on, man. We'll bid some more 24s. You know, we're not going to sit there at the very first moment of the day because, you know, this Nasdaq was looking pretty sick all morning. And then all of a sudden, right off the open, we were like, oh, man, we missed that short right there, that break. And it's kind of like, I tried to get the short into here again, right? And we got stopped out. Had that move happen, and now we're short again up here near, it's not even like a key level or anything, just ran that top and looking to see if we, you know, can make a move lower right now. But Nasdaq, a little bit in trouble there. We talked about the XLI earlier with Mitch. That's, again, 2-month lows right now for the XLI. It's been a couple bad weeks, I guess, in a row for many of these ETFs as we see some downside push now for the NASDAQ. And the strong stock of the day was Apple, so that could be one to look at, bouncing off of 250. I'm not sure what sort of else you guys want to look at. BATL there. We can go over to our stock visualizer and have a quick little jaunt at that and give it a little look here. I mean, we can look at Micron as well. Micron, obviously, on the way up. This is what you guys wanted us to do. Micron's on the NASDAQ, though, Sean. Wow, 447. Oh, man, we wanted to look at that long, and we didn't have the guts to pull the trigger there in the first 5 minutes. All right, so there's Micron. You guys are right. That's 447. What a great report yesterday. What a great action trade today. Up 4% off of its lows, right? We started the show down 4%. Tesla got a nice little bump off 380 there, so we can have a quick little look. Data Vault breaks through their dollar marker, now goes sub-dollar, down 18% to 76 cents. That stock is cooked. HIMS, always a good trade, definitely when Obi was here. The good thing about Obi coming here is he trades different names, that's for sure. He was on HIMS there. He got hit yesterday, but it was on his stock trade desk, I think it was yesterday. So always looking for different opportunities. So shout out to Obi. He'll be in for me tomorrow afternoon as we've got hockey. Alibaba 125.50 there today, downside on earnings. That might be a good little level to think about shorting over there for Alibaba. They did not have a good report at all, and looking potentially to go short here. Whoa. That's okay. I was gonna say that's not Alibaba because they didn't bump up like that, but they did. They did bump to 127, 128. I wrote down 130 as a short, but wow, 121 low there. And again, like right off the open, be patient. Try to get that level. We did write down. Thanks, Andre, for putting that sticky note thing up. We did write that up right now at those levels, 127. Possibly coming in right there. So we'll have to wait to see Wagwan that. There goes the TQs near the lows. We're happy about that one as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that Data Vault DVL team, remember, they reported earnings, but they also made an acquisition. So there was an acquisition and they reported earnings this morning, and they were up like 30-40% going into it. So you got to be careful with those small cappers when they've already done such a ridiculous move. Sometimes they sell the news. Venus, I see you talking about Oxy in the chat. Thank you for putting the dollar signs in. The only other new thing was waiting for the next available level, right? Like the first level I wanted was where 45. On Intel, so we tried it at 45. It came into the prior high. It's a 45 and a half zone, which is also yesterday's high where the short worked into VWAP. So I'm back into it. Same story. It'll be about, if it takes that top wick out, then I'm jumping out of the trade and waiting for a trend break. But those energy names, a bit of a difference here. Like you look at Oxy, now Oxy goes 3% to the upside, breaking through 60. And then you look over here, look to the left, it's CVX trying to break some highs. So there's some good strength that you're seeing in some of these names. Boyle, by the way, Nat Gas is making its secondary bounce off of the volume weighted average price. So I've been waiting, like the last time I waited for it to actually bounce off VWAP, so just doing the same thing again here. So you're seeing energy strength once again, which I think leads to the market heading, well, whatever, short. So like it's led to things usually heading back.
Oh my God, look at Rivian.
For the most part. But yeah, Boyle bouncing, oil names bouncing as well, looking pretty strong. Love that Chevron, super strong stock.
Oh boy, yeah, we check out Rivian right here. You know, again, like like I had said, man, I thought this was going to be a good trade, and we had a bid that we left here at the 200 period moving average, which is why it looks like we got long and sold there. But there goes Rivian right there into the downside. So that was a good short right off the open, and that's why you want to join us here live every single day at 8 a.m. I mean, this trade comes in at 8 a.m. So good levels there for sure, kicking out on Rivian. So, good trade. We'll see if it can get a little lower for us there. I mean, I'm still not in. I don't know where we're going to buy it. That's what I mean. How low can we go now on RIVN? Looks like lower. Knew that story was a little fugazi, man. So I'm glad that we took it and believe in ourselves to do that. So that was a good one there. Always nervous hands in the pre-market for sure. But I think it was well worth the risk. Okay, so that's that little talk there on Rivian. Here comes the Qs. Give me that 07, man. We're bidding 07s. We didn't get it the last time. Will we get it now? Yes, we will. And there it goes, man. The diamond hand trade again. Hey, man, I said the Rivian trade might be the trade of the day. Maybe it's IBIT. I don't know what it's going to be. But here goes the TQs, man, finally making that move lower. We just waited for this the whole time. We still have half on. So hopefully we can come back in and start to fill out now. We're going to bid. We just got O's, I believe, as well. So we got 03s there. So now we'll wait. We'll see if we can get some of these lows now. 44.70 maybe incoming here for the T triple Qs. But there it goes, man. 45 cents now in the money over there. And just wish we didn't get stopped out on Rivian, but nice downside play here for the market. See you later. It's a nice move here to get in on the T triple Qs. So boom goes the dynamite on that one. 40 cents now on the Nasdaq. Let's see if we get a little bit lower. I think the correction could happen now. I mean, we just had a nice move higher. Let's see if we correct back into 24,400.
Before we get to the super chat, you're going to see me pop out of IBIT again. That buyer was still on the bid at the exact same level. It was 5 million shares, or 500,000 shares there, and there was 1 million shares a couple of levels underneath it. I saw it bounce once, and the buyer left the order, and I said that's where I'd get out if I saw them again, so I ended up taking it out altogether. So maybe I'll shorten the VWAP, but until that order on IBIT goes, I feel like that's a termination point. Nick W., mind giving your look on STX? Yeah, sure, why not? I just jumped out of both my positions, so we can look at Seagate. You bought a call at 388. You're looking for all-time high next month or two. Hey, at least you got some relative strength in here today. Ooh, that's pretty good. I love when you eyeball this kind of a thing. Well, I love this kind of a setup because oftentimes you'll get this like pullback where like something that's very, very strong and in a long-term upward trend does this pattern where you don't have to take an all-time high break. Instead, you get this bottom channel. It holds like the 50 period, breaks the top of the channel, consolidates above, and then you can be long in here looking for the high. I mean, the other way to play that is to, I guess, you buy the support line. But either way, no, it does look like a good setup. It's broken. You get a consolidation hold today that kind of confirms that low, and then you would work back into the high. So it's not, I don't know, is it still called a bull flag? I never really know. I'm not a charter market technician, but the premise is still the same. Like you're getting an upward trend consolidation. Only here you can play it into the high of the day without actually having to take said high of the day break. The only, I did not get that Boyle long. So I didn't want to chase it too far. I'll usually give it to like the top end of that prior bar, like this kind of consolidation, but I didn't want to chase it all the way up here. Was trying to get this back into the 70s where we did last time. So I can wait for some kind of a pullback. It's still a bit range bound. Bowl's the only thing that's been clean. Like IBIT worked out like early and then late, right? So I've traded it 4 times. It'll be up because 2 of them ended up working out. But then Intel, that's the one that it just keeps on breaking that high. I might have got topping tail wicked out, but once that happens, like I can't jump back in until it sets up again, right? Like it broke that high. Now we get another topping tail. So I have to wait for this candle to give me an entry here at about that 45.5 zone for sure. Adam James Abroad just sent us a super chat. Throw it up there. Best day in weeks. Opening pop. See you all tomorrow. That's what you got to do. You know what? Actually, I put a note in our academy and actually was talking about a trader with this, about this. It's like you've got to hit while the iron is hot. And you've got to be able to manage your risk and know when. It's like take that profit, also know when to quit. And this was a trader that I was talking to this morning, going back and forth about. He said he was not stopping, but slowing down his trading and some of the North American stuff, and because he hit like a daily month loss limit. I'm like, oh, you've been doing well the last year. He's like, yeah, but if I get to a certain point in the month, I just like slow it down or shut it down. I mean, it's self-imposed. He's like, if I ever see myself down that much, I'm like, you know what? What's good about that is a lot of traders won't acknowledge when they're having a bad time or a good time. And so if you do that, it forces you to confront it. I'm like, that level of discipline from somebody who's been up for like, I feel like I talked to him, he was up almost like every single month this last year. But to do that was fantastic. So, good look and congratulations on you. Bart says Intel short going to be nice on the next close 5 minute. We'll see. Like the other thing that's going on is it doesn't have like a clean trend line that I can look off of, which I usually like. So not from that little VWAP. If I slap one from the entirety of the day, I think it's a little too steep early, but it hasn't given me that secondary entry. Like I don't mind these like quick, there's my red bar, take it when it's at a resistance level. But when it's past that resistance point, it's got to break trend or show me that obvious head and shoulders look, which it's trying to do now. So it could. It definitely could come into play. So this, I mean, I'm looking at the same names, like IBIT, Boyle, and Intel is all it's been for me. And I still haven't gotten into SoFi. SoFi is not really popping in these market moves. I might need to just draw down a little bit here. This is trending. So like this one, I absolutely can say, there it is on a trend line. It breaks the trend line up. I wait for VWAP. But if it holds, this candle closes holding, I should be shorting this bottom.
All right. About the short. I mean, here we go. Trying to get low. Right now, we'll see how low we can go. I just saw lunches here today already.
10:30?
So, yeah, earlier than 10:30, man. So, yeah, it's very early today. I just saw the guy right now. So I'm interested to see what's for lunch. You got to stay tuned for that famed segment. All right, so here we go, man. 44.90s coming into play now. We've sort of based out a little bit. I was hoping for it to go a little lower than where we are right now, but it is trying to hold this bid at 44 and change. Whether or not you're drinking water or coffee, please stay hydrated. I have my water right beside me. Right here, right now. Okay, let's go looking for something else right now, because there goes it. Oh, yeah, there goes the TQ. Let's put a little bit of a bid out right there. Come on, baby. We talked about 44.60. Do we just want to put it there? Let's put it at 44.70. See if we can get out of a little bit more down there. We're just going to get out of 10% each. We only have 40% left now of this trade, but it's a big one, man. Now 60 cents in the money. If we could stop out short and win big, that's the recipe for success. For this style of trading. ARM to the downside right now, just hit on my scanner, so we can have a quick look. I guess it's just coming back. It's into VWAP a little bit right here. Is coming into ARM. So I don't know, gap fills here on ARM. I don't know what's up with that, but maybe the liquidity is just not the greatest here on ARM. Down only 0.5%. I mean, again, I like it. I like their deals with NVIDIA and how they're sort of intertwined so much over there. So there could be some plays there coming through on ARM. The trade of the day, I think, obviously, the trade of the day here, I think, on the show would be that Rivian trade. But as far as Micron, I think this might have been the idea of the day right there on the downside. Like, picking a strong stock on what was a great earnings report and weakness in the market, took advantage of that as we shoot up right there into 450 right now for Micron. So, a good opportunity there for someone to have, captured that low. And then I also think that Tesla potentially, another great opportunity. And it's happening right now, which is why I don't love it as much. Micron not coming back in. This one is now testing for the second straight time this 380 marker. So I'm already short the market and would like this thing to just continue its downside push. So I'm not going to go long Tesla, but this is not a bad look. If you are in Tesla looking for a decent opportunity here, TSLA right now on the long through and above 480. We'll see if it can hold. Looks like the futures are holding just a little bit right here. Silver was the short. Let me see, because it did rip up into the 200 period right there. We didn't do anything about it. It's still down 9%. Maybe good enough. I was, a longer time frame here, just 5 minutes. It's not like it's a huge difference. That 64 is the 50 period moving average. We probably have enough 50 periods worth of data right here anyways. So we'll see if that hits $64. Doesn't look like that's coming into play off of the 200. It might even look strong potentially here. Holding VWAP is silver. Gold, probably very similar. Big moves down. I mean, we were chilling out last week with a few individuals that really thought silver did have a good opportunity to get back to the high side. They're going to be wrong temporarily because that was last week. Gold also to the downside, another 5% here today, so that's not doing well. And then checking in on crude, as we'll check out light sweet crude right now. Yeah, breaking highs right now of the open market, or of 930. So right there, 927 high there. We're going to see if we break 97.75 or so. We'll see if we can get some love back in there on the upside for oil. So hopefully oil goes up, and that would make sense of why we're ringing it off right now on the TQs. We'll take another bid here at 91s as we just hold on to the short right now. We do have Sia. She is ready. Let's go find out what she's all about.
Nothing, Sean, just taking a look at the number coming in at 10:30 here. EIA natural gas stocks change coming in at 35 BCF from the previous number at negative 38 BCF and up from the consensus of 31.
Yeah, oil hasn't really changed what it was doing on that number, but it is worth monitoring here. It did dip that second time, and if you bit of a miss, it dipped into VWAP a second time. I wouldn't think any structural change based on that. It's not reacting. No volume spike or anything too crazy. So we did finally get into SoFi. It held that. Got to redraw that and then save it. So it did hold on to this trend line, made a fresh low, and we're back in filled again. So if it breaks out of the trend, I can jump out and wait for the volume weighted average price there. And then same thing with Intel. It's going to keep waiting for it to get to the next level. It reclaimed underneath that prior low. So this is a level that I'm taking the short. And if it breaks this, then I wait for it to get to the 46.5 zone on that bad boy. The only thing that, Apple, there we go. Okay, Apple is finally, it took a long time, but Apple just pulled into VWAP and then held the 250 level. So it actually took all morning for that to happen. So this was the only stock I actually had on the list as a long. So I'm going to jump into this one. It'll be the first, well, I guess technically Boyle is a long, but that's kind of opposite of the market kind of deal. But it'll be the first actual long tech stock we'll be looking for here today is Apple. Good hold.
Yeah, a couple of rough trades, obviously, on Intel today. I mean, I started off with the short as well there, and not a great look there for Intel off that early short for sure. And there it goes, running the highs again there. I'm only looking at it because the Nasdaq just went higher as well, and I was like, what stocks was I short in the first place? And that was one of them, so tough day there. And here comes the Qs. We did reload it, so I don't know, we'll hit this. I'm nervous because I didn't think the market would, make these kind of comebacks. We do take a 16 there. We did just reload it a little bit at, okay, there we go, take a 17 again. We did reload the short a little bit there at 25s, so gave us basically a little bit of a lower price, average price. So if you do see me ticking around there, that's why my price just changed lower. Some of you guys always ask, like, oh, why did your prices change? We talked about that situation a couple times there. So it's first in, first out. So that's why we're adjusting that price to give us an average price right here, right now on that. So yeah, so far so good here today as we just wait to see what names are going to pop up into the blotter next. Yeah, all right, let's go over and look at the stock visualizer. We want to thank everybody for once again watching here today, and put your dollar sign and then the stock. We already looked at Micron. I mean, Micron is an absolute wagon, like honestly, man. 454 now for Micron. Buy the best names on weakness whenever you are in doubt right there. This was down 7% earlier, and I think it was Dave's dumb trade of the day. I think it was a Micron long. So congratulations. That is now very, very much in the pocket. It seems like you traders are the ones out there, and we're just sort of throwing stuff to the wind here. Silver, HIMS, Intel, SNDK, Tesla. Oh, wow, there's the bounce off 380 again on Tesla, man. Wow, I hope some of you guys are taking some of those fills. Microsoft now below 4 bills as we saw the SaaS names kind of rally up. So I thought Microsoft might rally with those names. Does not look like it. I'm going to adjust just now Micron. 455, man, was still down $7, but Micron well up now, up to 455, looking to go green, and that is definitely rallying the market right now, back to 450. I mean, whatever, at this point, we'll just keep our stop right now. The market getting excited. See, you got news about this rally or what?
Sean, we're talking about Crypto.com here. So Crypto.com has laid off 12% of its employees because it is integrating artificial intelligence. And CEO of the company, Chris Marszalek, has said that the cuts were to roles that do not adapt in the new world. A growing number of companies have also cited AI for mass layoffs because CEOs, as we know it, are thinking of what kinds of jobs their firms really need. So right here, I have the tweet directly from the CEO saying that we are joining the list of companies integrating enterprise-wide AI. Companies that do not make this pivot immediately will fail, the CEO has said in an X statement.
Thank you for that update. And look, if we're through VWAP, it took way too long to get along here. But Apple, like, we'll see if it can get back to the pre-market highs. It held that 250. It broke the downtrend. So if it's a trend play, then trend in, trend out. But I will be looking at 251.5 as that potential exit point over there in AAPL. It continues to go here. Oh, Luis just Valbuena. Is anyone here shorting Alibaba? I think we kind of forgot to look at that one on earnings. Alibaba's, oddly enough, this is exactly where it was when we probably talked about it this morning on those earnings, which is down 6.5%. I think it got this might be SSR. No. Really close, but I don't think it quite got there. Anyways, Alibaba, they actually missed top and bottom. So if you're looking for some kind of a short, this is weaker than the overall market. It's still underneath some resistance, but it's over VWAP for me. It's forming a flat bottom that maybe would be the short area. I had 128 as the level, and obviously you can see it didn't get anywhere. I mean, it's within $3. I guess that's not nothing. So it could get to 128 still, but that was the level I was looking for the short on Baba. For now, it's just going to be this Apple. See if it can press back into those highs, hold on to that volume-weighted average price. They had a minor story, China sales doing very well. They're picking up a lot of market share compared to competitors.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, man. We did have Alibaba written down. We did put it down on our note. Obviously, we put the 130 short there. So, it's something to look forward to. Man, it's really warm outside. So I hope Sharif is enjoying the day. 7 degrees right now. All right, 45.50. We did average it back in there. Now it's coming back just a little bit. I was going to put a bid, maybe put a small bid here. All right, small bid at 30. We'll take that fill as we average into the short again. I'm still bidding 25s. There it comes right back to the downside. It would be nice if we get more of a push now. Lower here on the Qs as we just touched out the highs again. So let's see if this name wants to give me some 20 fills, and there it is right there at 20. You just got to put a bid in when you're trading the TQs, right? I mean, you get it doesn't really matter the gateway you use. If it's like a big key level, I'll use like a sort of an inverted gateway where we pay to get the fills, because honestly, man, like even if I have hundreds and whatever shares up here, most of these bids are like 20, 30, 40, 50 shares. So, the rebate's not going to matter that much. It obviously adds up over time, but, we're trading for gross. So if it happens, it happens. But we're bidding 16s again right there. There it goes, man. Sweet 16 as we get on the bear one more time. I hope you guys are trying to follow some of these TQ trades. They've been good. Just we lost there early, and now 4 or 5 reloads in a row now. Yeah, get down, get low. If we can get those 10s again, we'll take that. I'm bidding 03s there. So nice little reload, man. Now it's 40 cents in the pocket here on the TQQs. So that's a good play. I was sort of thinking like Microsoft here today. Why some of these SaaS names are going higher. I thought Microsoft would follow suit with those. I mean, we've seen CRM, we saw IGV, many of these names continue to make moves. And maybe that was the move right there. And now back in for Microsoft. Let's see if it gets faded just a bit. Let me check CRM because we did have that big move. Yeah, so there it is, right back in as well. So yeah, something got excited early. It must have been all those software names that really jacked this market. And now you're falling right back in again into these levels. We're still waiting, man. We're still waiting to get back some of these losses off the early TQQ trade, but I'm really holding on for this move lower. So that would be a good look there. And then Palantir, we've seen a huge move up. That's now twice in a row. Like this just happened 10 minutes ago, where for some reason we went into 150 there. Like the market makes this move down, and so does Palantir. Market makes the move up, and so does Palantir. So we're obviously on a pretty tight beta here to the market right now for PLTR. So if the market does get juicy and like starts to rip, Palantir will outperform. We know that. Like the Nasdaq up 1% means Palantir up 3 or 4%. So, you know, watch out there if you do like a long. I think Palantir, Micron, those kind of names, something to look forward to as we just keep on getting out of our TQ trade there. But yeah, there it is. You guys, I don't know if you're talking to us, don't need to trade penny crap today. Yeah, I mean, there's probably some stuff.
Oh, I'm sure there's something.
Yeah, I mean, there was that.
MOBX was the
DVLT.
That was bad. MOBX was trending higher.
DVLT, yeah. And then.
That was the right one.
Yeah, this is one down 16%. Got going early on the downside, Data Vault. Really good smack, down about 10% right there off the open. So that was 78, 79. You're probably gonna have to pay for shorts. Whoosh, all the way to the downside there. And since then, it's been on a move back up. So, you know, nice move there for DVLT. Just 57 million shares.
I paid for them yesterday. They were dirt cheap yesterday.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
I didn't use them, I don't think.
No, I didn't see it.
No. Because it was like $1 fail break I was looking for. It got to 98 cents, but it was basically free on that one. So same entry, but this time it's a trend line break. It doesn't matter. I don't care which one you want to draw. You draw it from the low of the day to that prior bar, but also from the initial entry, that support line is also breaking on Intel. At the same time, SoFi get into VWAP and failed it, so we're back into the short on SoFi. I don't need this anymore, not really using it. So SoFi broke that low trend. Now we're just holding for that VWAP retracement. So VWAP retracement on SoFi back into the lows is also playing. Apple hasn't, I mean, it's still holding on to the prior low from the volume weighted average price. Oh, and I did want to jump back over to Boyle. Do not want to forget about the energy names for everybody. But remember that chance that it could hold VWAP again? It did the first time. It did the second time. But the third time, no bid whatsoever. So if you park a bid at the volume weighted average price, it would have worked twice. This time, I don't want to call the trade done in Boyle because maybe it'll find some support down at $19, but temporarily this one is definitely done. And if you look over at what's going on in USO, oil doing much better. It's still on trend to the upside. So it's really just Boyle that's taking it on the chin with that hammer candle. So no long at VWAP there.
All right, just looking for some more stuff. If there's any news that pops through, man, we'll get some information from Sia over there. Just real quickly here on Intel. Of course, there was a story at Intel. Versa partners with Intel. This is just at 10:40, so not too long ago, to enable AI edge using Intel Xeon processors. So that story was a couple minutes ago, so I'm not really seeing any backfills on that story or anything, but coming back in and trying to bounce just a little bit off right there. Oh boy, did we get that fill? Yes, we did. I'm gone into like scalp. I'm still holding half, but we did reload it, so I'm just like reloading and getting out of that reload scalp right now. You don't want to reload something and then not take advantage of it when it comes back into some clear support. So it's just like you shouldn't even get the opportunity. Like yesterday into the close when we were short the Qs, which was huge. We were using the TQs. Like, we didn't even get an opportunity to get this price again, right? It was just kept on bleeding down, and every sort of bump up was met by hits. So today, as you're seeing, much different story here. Similar profitability and stuff like that because of the fact that we have reloads. But I feel like it's going to break this, man. I mean, I don't know. Oil's not really doing a whole heck of a lot right now. We looked at silver and gold. They're trying to retrace just a bit. And before I say that about oil, we did have USO up to 120, so still here right now. I mean, come on, get down market right here. Okay, there's a little bit of a tick lower there on USO, but you can see like this is the sort of the epitome of what I mean by doing nothing right now, kind of just hovering around at these levels, 121 USO, and then yes, right now for the Nasdaq. I hope you guys have that. There's silver right now, short 64s could be a play as well. But hey, man, I'm only in one position. Neil's got 3 on right now, so we can go back and have a quick little look over there. Oh, Five Below was an interesting name. We looked at this yesterday. I was like, oh my God, like how good has this stock been? This was $50 last year at this time. It's $233. Five Below, again, whacked early and then just whooshed right back up to the upside. So another earnings name that really just continues to print people out. So good little level there for Micron. Maybe this 455, I don't know, that was where we just stopped at. And 5 below just keeps on, making huge moves to the north side there. We just got an 04 or something like that on our TQQs. Yes, we did get 04, so that's a good level. We'll wait for lower now. 44.80, my next bid.
Yeah, 44.80 and, 16.6 on SoFi. It continues to bounce off the low, so I want to respect that. Intel, after breaking the trend, hey, that didn't save. There, I'll just make it relatively simple. Oh, my P per weight bar is gone. Can't hit save. It's still holding the same consolidation. It's been basically the same level that it's set up each time. So I haven't really had to change much in terms of like where we're getting that short. So I don't want to change anything. This is going to be a retracement into a VWAP style of trade. Apple is trying to hold the line off that volume weighted average price, but it's barely holding. 249.5 is going to be our exit point. I haven't added back into it, and I won't unless it's above the volume weighted average price. So hasn't been any reason to. For now, like I said, the shorts are coming right back into it. So Intel hopefully gets to that VWAP, and we're going to go for sector watch with SIA. It's already 10:46.
Right, almost what's for lunch.
Just taking a look at the market here, S&P down 0.57% currently. Mix of red and green I'm seeing on my screen here, but what I want to talk about is Micron. Despite its blowout on the Q2 earnings, the stock is falling right now and is currently down 1.87%. Tesla down 2.92%. Nothing crazy going on here, guys. That's all. Back to the guys.
Yeah, and of course, for those of you that are trading oil and looking at that IDF strikes, Iranian naval infrastructure in the Caspian Sea. So you're going to continue to see a lot of that back and forth. Although, as I said, oil, not really catching that bid. After all, we'll get rid of that and throw that out of the way, so you don't have to see it anymore. But maybe it catches that bid at that 19. Just want to see where its strength might be outside of USO. And of course, you can look at the XLE as an example. That's super strong. We already showed you guys USO. So lots of energy names moving higher. Oxy, CVX are both looking very, very good to the upside. If you got some energy in your portfolio, then that's a good place to be hedged. At least I think so. I love CVX.
Yeah, I like CVX as well. I prefer. I just got XLE, so get them all. But yeah, CVX is a nice one there with a dividend for sure. You want to get a good dividend, man. Campbell is a good dividend right now. General Mills is a good dividend rate now as well. And let's check out what Eli Lilly is doing real quick. Nice little bounce off those lows of 912, but we were a lot higher earlier. This name actually got green. When the market tanked off open, Eli Lilly actually made highs right into there off the open. So be careful with all of that right now on Eli Lilly. I mean, I really like the stock, and I think should be a good one there moving forward for Eli Lilly. So I think you buy the dips on this. I mean, it's been really crushed, man. That's 1100 if we use sort of this ruler there. Is this the ruler? Measuring Fibonacci, so it must be this. All right, if we take sort of these highs, we'll just take it from here and go all the way down and see what this retracement candle looks like. 17% to the downside there for Eli Lilly. So, you do get close to bear territory for that stock. And I think the 200 period makes a little bit of sense there as we wait for that oral pill. And then we also wait for what's in the pipeline there. Maybe GLPs aren't, the big, obviously they're a big thing, but maybe they're not as big as it's starting to fall back in. We've seen Novo Nordisk get hit as well on those plays. Oh boy, man. Sharif, you may remember that early on in the morning, we did have Rivian to the short side at $17.20. It's at $16 right now. We did do the whole cover right there at $16.40. So we'll fire off a hot dog cannon for that trade, but $1 right there, more than $1 to the downside. I was really glad to hear that report. But downside there for Rivian. And yeah, we'll see a deal with Uber there in Rivian today, started giving that shot right there up to the upside. So nice move. We sort of thought that would be the trade of the day early, and it looks like that should be the case late even. We'll see if we can put something on that resembles a better look. But that one for me was just really well structured. We saw the bounce up right there. I took the short again sort of there, knowing that we would average in if it came back to 20, and then using that top wick as our out. So it really gave it to me, and then we just hit it. So we only had one unit in total, half there, but that is what it is. Good question there, Svander Stam. Yeah, maybe Svander.
I don't know.
Svander Holyfield.
I can't figure out what that is.
Oh, maybe this guy got his ear bit off. I don't know, Svander Holyfield. All right, so right into there. Hey, I'm here all day, everybody. No, I'm not. I'm actually be back at 2. And then tomorrow I'm out at 11. So you'll have Obi and Neil, the dynamic duo over there. You can be
Vietnamese dongs, that's what.
Oh, okay. I could have another joke there, but I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there right now. You know, I'm trying to be a trader, and we don't need to talk about Vietnamese dongs over here. All right, 155.40 coming in. Did I just do it? 155.40 there for Oracle. I mean, if you're talking about shorting it today, I'm not sure. I mean, it's kind of like what I'm thinking about the Nasdaq right now. Although we are underneath VWAP for the Nasdaq, it doesn't seem like it wants to go too low. So I don't really like the short, man. I would much prefer 153 there for the lows. Wait for VWAP to come in and then potentially go long instead of the short on Oracle. I actually think, and I'll say this because Adara's not here, but I think Oracle is done getting cooked. Like if it comes back into 140, I'm not very positive on the market. I just don't think that this sort of reaction is still in play for Oracle. Like obviously that was a huge dramatic move down, but we did bounce close enough to those April lows there. I don't think we retest. And if we do, man, I think that there's going to be other stocks that get hit way more aggressive than Oracle does if we wind up making those lows. And I think it'd have to be a data center, obviously, issue there, or people pulling back some of their CapEx. Like, I don't know exactly what's going to create the huge move there for Oracle, but I kind of like the long. And look at the NASDAQ, man, right back up. So we got to... I mean, I'm glad that we took advantage down here near VWAP, but we should have taken a little bit more out when we got to those levels. We're still stopping out up to the upside right now. But the one thing that we're all waiting for, other than Sia's segments, of course, is what's for lunch. So this lunch was here real early, so it better be something that doesn't need to be warm. Okay, here we go, man. Today's what's for lunch menu. Yesterday, way too salty. On the ground beef, in my opinion, there. We had black pepper beef. I would say it was black pepper / salt beef there, but it was still pretty tasty. I mean, the taste was good.
That bad.
Today's flag is that of one of the greatest countries in the world, of course, with 60% of our audience being United States. I cannot say the greatest. This is herb grilled chicken. All right, piece of chicken. Herb grilled chicken, vegetable pilaf, roasted vegetables, chef's choice salad. The thing about the herb grilled chicken, it'll be a chicken breast, so I think at least it'll be decently cooked. I would think there. So
hope it's not too dry.
Yeah, too dry is the problem, but it's better than too pink. So right there.
Yeah, at least you won't get sick.
Yeah, you won't. Nothing going on there. And shout out to the caterer. They've been, I think, stepping up a good week recently. Yeah, exactly. So all good there. TQ's does that drop in again, so I'm taking it out. Another piece out right there. You're not going to see me because I'm going to be out of here, but that's the stop, right? If we break the highs of the day here on the TQQs, I got to get some agua going on here as we only have 7 minutes until our flagship takes over.
Yeah, 7 minutes to go. And Jason, Lindsay, I don't know what makes that lunch Canadian either, but I think the flag is just a fun thing that they do. I don't think I wouldn't read too much into it just to spice it up a little bit. No, it is not some kind of Canadian dish that is secret. Until we get poutine, it's not going to matter. But just for the structure of the last two trades, because I don't think I'll be anything new, if the shoulder breaks on the head and shoulder, then I'm out. I'm in at the same level. This time we're in a bit of a trend break. It has to break this consolidation to take any fills out, right? Like it's pretty clear structure. And if it breaks that, it'll be this bar here. Like this head and shoulders level gets out, not the high of the day because it's drawn a little too far. Then we'll jump out of that. SoFi is still, look, man, I want SoFi to go higher. I actually like the response for what it's worth. from SoFi. I think leaning on the fact that they're heavily regulated, and they hold a bank charter, so they didn't get into a little bit of any mudslinging. The whole note about Anthony Noto buying shares, it was a very small dollar. He didn't buy a lot of shares. It was good press that he did some dip buying on that story on the Muddy Waters report, but it wasn't a lot. But either way, it's not bouncing today, so we'll keep shorting this one in front of the volume weighted average price. But as I said before, like I own shares of SoFi. I wouldn't pull the trigger yet because it hasn't shown any signs of holding a low, holding a higher low. Usually what you'd get after like a dead cat bounce or a post earnings bounce. I would treat it like that for SoFi, and it's got to prove to you that the downward trend is broken, and it hasn't done that, unfortunately. Scott, yes, he did buy millions worth. I know Anthony Noto bought millions worth previously. I'm only talking about the response to the short seller report, because one of the things that you heard us say that day was, I was kind of thinking, he's very active on X a lot of times in social media. I was thinking that he was going to pop off on them, which would have been a good sign of confidence, but he didn't. He didn't say anything personally. He let the corporate response go, and there was a small amount of shares that got bought. I would have, if there had been like a bigger statement, I feel like that would have been I would have liked it a little bit better. That's the best.
$500,000 is fine. I mean, I don't know how much, where his stock compensation
He bought millions
is.
like a couple of weeks ago. So
Yeah. I mean, these guys,
previous
it's
buy.
nice to see him supporting the stock, of course, but yeah, you'd like to see a little bit more, but whatever. I mean, I wouldn't, if I was him, I would not even come close to buying any more SoFi shares or any of these stocks. I mean, right now, the financials seem to be working through some of the issues, that is for sure. Robinhood's still down that 2%. If anything, I'm already in SoFi, quite decently, so not too worried about buying more, but in none of Robinhood. Robinhood's chopped in half from their highs, as is SoFi. So some of these plays, man, just continue to be really beat up. Look at Robinhood. Robinhood's at the same level all month. That's kind of the different thing about Robinhood v SoFi is Robinhood has shown, as Neil had mentioned there, you're waiting for some sort of a strength to happen in SoFi. Robinhood has shown 70 as a bottom. So, like, if you're going to do anything in the financials, like, Robinhood looks much different than even any of the other names, man, like JP Morgan or anything, Wells Fargo, whatever you're looking at in the banking space. Robinhood's already been down here for just so long that maybe you do get a dip by opportunity. Like, JP Morgan, look, I mean, it just made a bottom right now. There's not that month support down here, right, like you do see in Robinhood. So I would think that that could be something. And then the stock that nobody wants to talk about, of course, is Webull. We can have a quick little look at that. I'm not sure what this bottom looks like. We can have a quick little look, though, at it right now. It's been, yeah, see, so this one does have something similar to that of SoFi. That's, Robinhood. That is sort of the same level right there, but then you, where's my marker?
Those are all-time lows.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get the break right there of Webull. So breaking through 565. So something to be talked about is the potential lack of strength in Webull and maybe the strength in a Robinhood. So looking at that, if there's a dip down in Webull, you might
Robinhood. That's for sure.
Yeah, you might want to avoid that there for Webull and potentially buy some Robinhood. Look, man, both names are chopped much down. This was $16 down to $5. So this is a third the value if you're looking to pick up some value plays right now. Webull is not the one. They also don't even make money. So, neither do any of these names. But I think SoFi EPS positive. I'm not sure about Robinhood. I'd have to look at that one. Yeah, just relaxing. We did take another fill there on the Qs. 2 minutes left, and we'll get going there. Yeah, Webull is a wee bear.
SoFi was running third, I think, on the recent polls. It's not polls, I guess. It's Kalshi and Polymarket aren't polls. The next name to get added to the S&P 500.
Yeah.
SoFi was on that list, and so they have to qualify. They are making profit, so they are at least on the short list. It was third last I checked. I'd have to double check. That was probably 2 weeks ago. So I don't even know if that's still going to be true. Just to come back over, and we only have a couple of minutes to go. If you're looking at, like, it's interesting. What's interesting about the energy names is USO has really barcoded in here, but if you look at what's going on still with the XLE is blasting higher, led by things like CVX. Actually, that's pulled back quite a bit. And Oxy and XOM have been much stronger than just looking at straight oil. Let's go to SIA, and then when we come back, we're almost at, I guess we're already at lunchtime for us because it got here a while ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So the dollar index is trading around the 100 level and has firmed over the past couple months. There's hotter U.S. producer prices and ongoing geopolitical tensions as we know it that are supporting the safe haven demand. Also, after yesterday's FOMC meeting, the Fed rates, as we know it, have left unchanged between the 3.5 and 3.75% level. Now, also, the Bank of Japan has kept its policy rate unchanged and has signaled that any tightening path will be gradual, and the yen, as we know it, is sensitive to global yield spreads and therefore is high in risk sentiment here. Also, another name I want to mention here is despite a weaker than expected GDP, the New Zealand dollar is also rallying against major peers in the Asian trading. That's all.
Okay, that's all. And then get back going there. Okay, my Benzinga just crashed there. I actually wanted to see right here because I may stand corrected on Webull. Someone in the chat there said that Webull was actually positive EPS. So yeah, EPS right here. Yeah, you are right, man. There it is. Next quarter looking at 5%, 4 cents right there, EPS. This year, 3.60 was up year over year. Obviously, in the last 3 to 5 years, we're downside right there. But I don't really see that's EPS diluted right now, minus $1.19. So I'm not 100% sure what I'm looking at here. I'll have to figure that out because they don't.
Not a forward PE.
They don't have. Yeah, it's because they're guiding, I guess, right? So I don't know. Right there, forward PE, not doing well there. And then here's SoFi as well. Again, you know, you have to sort of dig through these numbers. I don't even use FinViz. My Benzinga has crashed like basically every 5 minutes for me, so I'm giving up on that. There's EPS, yeah, for SoFi, nice little 38 cents right there. And again, the diluted EPS, earnings per share. Look at their PE. It's still nasty. You don't need a 43 PE if you're a fintech name. That is for sure, especially if you got that bank charter. I mean, JP Morgan, you know, I think the worry is that SoFi does have, oh my God, it's 11:01. Not only did we start... Hold on a second here, Sharif. Yesterday, you know, we took over 15 minutes early for these guys.
No, they owe us.
So I mean, I got to take a look at Joe's little sheet there where he's keeping track.
That we always do that. It just makes up for everything.
I think Joe's forgetting a lot of things. There's PE right here, 14.25 right now. I'm going to check out his spreadsheet and see how many days we're owed, because remember, he's keeping track. But there's the forward PE there for JP Morgan, 14 to 12 right there. So we like JP Morgan.
That's cheap.
Obviously, much better than
cheap.
Okay, all right, there we go. I don't know if he's hitting fail on JP Morgan or what he's hitting fail on there, but JP Morgan downside. All right, man, it's 11:02.
He's hitting fail on Pineapple Energy.
And he's a little...
I'm spoiling something for you there, Sharif.
Okay, yeah, don't spoil it for Sharif, man. Sharif is...
Oh, he just asked for shorts on it, that's all.
Oh, okay. Shout out to that one. There as well. You are more than welcome. It's our flagship. They're about to take over. And then you're going to get a treat tomorrow afternoon as well when Obi sits in this desk for me from 2 to 4. Neil will be here, which is always a good thing. And we will see you. Thanks, Sia. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you at 2 o'clock.